wow, wow.
You shake my bones and you rattle my balls.
I'm so fucking pumped. I'm like, yeah, bitch, fuck
I will do that.
I just pretended that was Brian Deegan.
Yeah. With his girlfriend that looks like she gets railed by 5 Tennessee police officers. Choo choo. It's just a non-stop cyclone of just holy shit.
Yeah. Welcome to row 1, seat 1. Oh yeah, baby. It's Tuesday night. You know what that means?
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. It's a Tuesday, bro. It's a Tuesday. Welcome everybody to row 1, seat 1, Joey Fats Radio, live on the one, the only, the New Bedford Guide. I am your host, Joey Fats. Thank you all for joining us. No Sean tonight. He is 2,000 miles south in the Sunshine State, dragging his kid all over Disney World.
Sounds like fun.
It's hot. You ever been to Florida in July?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hot.
I went to Tampa last year, like the end of July. Like, actually, it was like a year ago, like last week, I think a couple days ago, like this past Sunday, Monday, like we were in Tampa, and
it's hot.
Beautiful.
It is. It's nice.
So
it's
nice.
hot, but it's nice. Thank you all for joining us. Plizzy with me tonight.
What up?
I am Joey Fats. Thank you all for joining in. We got an absolutely loaded show tonight. We got a lot to get into. We are going to get into the NFL. We've got contracts being signed.
Big ones.
Running backs and quarterbacks getting
Yeah.
paid. Now, depending on who you root for, that if you're a running back, you're not really thinking that's great. If you're a quarterback, man, life is good. We'll get into that. We'll get into the NBA. Bronny James having a little bit of an issue.
Scare there.
A little scare. We got a bunch of fun NASCAR stuff from Pocono on Sunday. We got punches thrown, cars wrecked,
Helmets.
helmets thrown,
Flying.
drama everywhere. It was great. I missed on all my bets because Denny Hamlin's a fucking dick, but whatever. That is what it is. We'll get into all of that. We've got a ton of stuff. We got Ohtani rumors. We've got Jaylen Brown getting paid.
Jesus.
We'll get the Celtics fans' takes on that, and we'll get into all of that plus much, much more as the show progresses. NFL uniforms are coming out. We got all sorts of fun stuff. 774-992-8702 is the phone number if you want to give us a call and get your thoughts in on this absolutely gorgeous Tuesday night in July. We have one more Tuesday before the feast.
Yeah.
And that is it. We have next Tuesday. We'll be off next Tuesday night, just for those that are listening in. We'll be off next Tuesday night because it's feast week, and I'm taking the vacation, so we'll be off. But before we get into all the sports stuff, I do want to touch on we're going to touch on some local politics stuff because there was a major move happened in the city of New Bedford today, and I apologize if you're not from New Bedford or you're not from the local area, if you're one of our friends listening out of state and this really doesn't apply to you. I apologize, but bear with us because this is kind of a big deal for us in this area because something happened today, that's going to affect us, not drastically, but
it doesn't
directly.
affect me, really. It doesn't.
It doesn't,
but that doesn't mean I'm not against it.
But the city of New Bedford moved to ban the sale of nips today. Now, everybody knows what a nip is. I think what do they call them in other states? Minis? They call them in other states. They call them minis in case anybody's listening from out of state.
I don't know.
The little tiny, your
fireball shooters. And shit,
your little fireball shots. So they've banned nips in the city of New Bedford. And initially, I saw this. I heard about this a couple of weeks ago when I went to my local liquor store. And
never mind.
The smelling salts are over there. You want them?
Yeah.
You want the smelling salts?
No. I'm just getting a little like.
Paul needs his Atomic Rhino smelling salts. That's not they don't sponsor us. That's not a plug. But the city of New Bedford decided that they were basically unilaterally going to ban nips today. I saw this on a petition at my local liquor store the other day, which obviously I frequent. I don't know. Jesus Christ. I'm off 4 days a week. I'd say I'm in there 3 days out of the week.
Yeah. Maybe twice in one day, one time.
Sometimes
you
it happens.
Forget something or whatever, but yeah.
So New Bedford decided to ban nips. Now, I'd love to take some calls on this for anybody that wants to chime in on it. But the way this whole thing worked, because I was very confused as to how this could just happen in a matter of what felt like a couple of days. Like, it just, like, all of a sudden there was a petition at my liquor store. I signed the petition to not ban the sale of nips.
Right.
And then next thing you know, I find out today nips are banned, and I'm like, wait, what? And now, I'm not a big nip guy, right? I don't do nips. I don't.
Right.
You know when I do nips on airplanes and the golf course, okay? Because
Right.
I use the little TSA loophole where I put the nips in my little Ziploc quart bag,
Yeah.
and I fit like 10 or 12 or so in there, and that gets me enough vodka to sedate myself on the flight so that I don't have a fucking panic attack because I hate flying.
Because you're flying at 40,000 feet in a
Yeah,
fucking
because you're
aluminum
30.
tube.
Do I need to tell you what the fucking happened to
Going
you
600
in an
miles an
aluminum
hour.
tube?
Yeah.
I mean, aluminum tubes. Ask those guys that tried to go down the Titanic what happens when you get in a tube. Things don't always end well.
No, they don't.
So we got into this whole nips thing, and I found out about it, and I was kind of confused because I was actually caught off guard, very off guard, by the whole fact that we were banning nips in the city of New Bedford. I did not understand why. I didn't understand anything. There was no ballot. There was no vote. There was nothing. So I got into the conversation. We're talking about it. We're like, what the fuck? Like, where the hell did this come from? Like, why are we all of a sudden banning nips in the city of New Bedford? Now, again, it doesn't affect me to like any great deal yet. It doesn't affect me in the sense of like of a product that I regularly consume.
Right.
It affects me because like, okay, now if I'm playing golf at a Cushnet, I got to find a liquor store in a Cushnet that I can buy nips at on my way to a Cushnet River Valley, because when I shoot, we get a birdie. I know you're not supposed to bring alcohol onto the premise, but fuck you, we all know everybody does.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Suck it, Ranger McFriendly.
Yeah, you
but
know who you are.
but like you get birdie juice, bro. The birdie juice flows. I mean, we always patronize the clubhouse at the turn, but the birdie juice flows. So when we're out there with the boys and we're having a good day, I want to be able to throw back a couple of shots of birdie juice.
Right.
Whether and
What's
sometimes
the
even
butterscotch shit.
McGillicuddy's.
That's what I got to tell Dad, because we were wondering. That's what I said.
Dr. McGillicuddy's.
I'm pretty sure it's McGillicuddy's.
It is, 100%.
I forgot to ask you today. All right.
So I like to get some for the golf course and when I fly. That's basically it. That's the only time I use nips. So full disclosure, like as far as like banning nips goes, like this isn't like something I'm like passionate about because, oh my God, you're taking something away from me that I like depend on or I need. That's not the case. My beef with this is that, again, we have a government, in this case a local government, the mayor of New Bedford, John Mitchell, who's basically run unopposed, telling us what we can and can't consume in the city of New Bedford without a vote. I mean, this is done unilaterally. And the issue that I have with this, and I spoke to one of our elected officials today for, I don't know, a half hour?
Yeah.
When I was
able to finish a whole drink by the time you came.
Yeah,
inside.
I spoke to
like, wow.
one of I put a post up and basically complaining about the fact they were banning the nips, and I was like, how? Like, where did this come from? Like, I didn't vote for this. I didn't want this.
Right.
I don't want nips to be banned. Like, I get it. Like, I understand the premise of it and the reason why. It's the littering. It's littering. People get pissed off because they get thrown out the windows.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
And they're everywhere. Okay, yeah, that sucks. People suck. Why are we going to ban nips because people suck?
Right.
Do we ban? I mean, we've banned texting and driving. That doesn't solve anything. We've banned drinking and driving. Doesn't solve anything.
Clearly by the nips.
I mean, Yeah. I mean, we got gun-free zones. Doesn't solve anything.
Right.
Where most shootings happen, gun-free zones. Yeah. Oh, actually in Chicago, but whatever. Neither here nor there. My point is that I spoke to our elected official who was very much against banning of nips. He was not on board with this. But he explained to me the process of it, and he explained to me how it went, and I didn't know this. But basically, the Liquor Licensing Board in New Bedford is comprised of, I believe, 3 people. And some of these facts might be a little bit off, but I'm just going to give you the general premise of it.
Right.
And they are appointed by the mayor. So John Mitchell appoints 3 people to this board of liquor licensing who they get to decide whether or not this ban goes through or not. Now, John Mitchell wants nips banned because John Mitchell, one of his campaign things was, he wants to make New Bedford the cleanest gateway city in New England. He wants to clean up New Bedford, make it clean, pollution, whatever, litter. Like, okay, cool, great. Everybody can get on board with that, right? Like, no one wants a dirty city. We don't want this turning into France. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is just, if you've ever been to France, you know how vile and disgusting the French are, and they're just gross people.
Right.
And you look around and you're like, oh my God, it's so beautiful and picturesque. Why is there a mountain of cigarette butts right there on the floor? Like on the grass, like just in the grass. You're just like, it's the mountain.
Right.
And you're like, it's like 3 feet high. You're like, does nobody come and clean that? They're like, no. You're like, you know those don't like degrade and like rot away, right? They stay forever. And they're like,
time,
meh, whatever. And you're like,
shitbags.
okay, cool. Anyway, don't call us when you need another World War I for you. Like, we'll just, we'll leave you to the Germans next time, I guess. But my point is, so getting on with it, this whole NIPS thing, these 3 people got appointed by John Mitchell. John Mitchell's campaign promise was to clean up New Bedford, and he wants to make it. So NIPS are a big hot button thing for litter, apparently. I get it. I live right off the Ave.
Yeah.
Okay? When I was getting ready to go through the academy and all that, and I would run, especially when you get down to the power lines.
Yep.
Everybody knows where they are, right in front of the right before the fire station. If you're going south on the Ave. There's just a shit ton of nips, fireball nips, everything. They're like, you see them all over the place. It is gross. Don't get me wrong. It's a terrible thing, and I hate the fact that people do what they do with them.
Right. Because they just driving around, firing them out the window. You
Well,
know what I mean?
yes, because they don't want to get hit for an open container law, which I'll get into in a minute. But the whole banning of nips, to think that banning nips is going to curb pollution in any such way, when we have Dunkin' Donuts cups everywhere, you have scratch tickets everywhere, you have masks, surgical masks everywhere.
Yep.
There is shit
Plastic
everywhere.
Fucking water bottles, dude. Fucking.
And these 3 people on the licensing board, they had their minds made up. Apparently, the way this whole thing worked was there's a hearing. There's a hearing, then there's 30 minutes granted to the folks that are there to say something.
Right.
And then, the 3 panel members deliberate, and then they come back with their judgment after that. Apparently, it was supposed to be 30 minutes. Allegedly, it was cut short. This is according to a couple accounts that I heard on BSM earlier, but I don't know how true that is. And the deliberation lasted all of like 4 minutes, and they were like, yeah, no, we're banning them. So their minds were made up well before this ever happened.
Well,
they didn't give a shit.
Their homeboys bidding.
Well, that's the thing. It shields the mayor, right? The mayor gets to sit there and say, Mitchell gets to sit there and say, well, I didn't ban nips. I didn't do any of this.
Right. But
this was the liquor licensing board, but the people you appointed did.
Right.
And they're obviously carrying your water.
Yeah.
So, but he gets to kind of like
deflect,
and be like, it wasn't me.
Yep. No.
So when re-election time comes up,
yep,
he gets to say, well, I didn't ban the nips. Okay,
right.
It wasn't me.
Right.
I mean,
it was just the people I hired.
It was just the people that I appointed who are unelected officials.
Right.
Who get to do it. And the problem is, you know how this goes with whenever you give any person an appointment in a position of power,
right?
You know goddamn well they're going to abuse it.
That shit. Yep.
I mean, it's incredible. And some of the stories, and again, I talked to our elected official for about 30 minutes today, and he gave me a couple examples of things that go on and things that happen in City Hall. You give people in unpaid positions power in local government, and they will sit there and they turn into Joseph Stalin overnight. Like they make fucking Ho Chi Minh look, like a fucking normal dude. Like they're like, Pol Pot, hey, you ain't got shit on me, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, you wanna cut down a tree? Oh man, that's tough. That's tough, man. I don't know. Well, it's
death.
It's like, I don't know, like you might have to kill your firstborn.
Yeah.
Then maybe I'll consider it. Oh wait, you don't vote along the same party lines as I do? I don't think I'm going to grant you that request. Nah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Pretty much.
And that's how these things work. So this whole NIPS thing, again, it comes down to basically the mayor appoints the licensing board for the liquor. The liquor licensing board decides what gets done and what doesn't. And now we are unable to purchase NIPS in New Bedford, which is absolutely stupid in so many different ways. And I'd love to hear, like, I know the people that are pro banning of nips.
Right.
I know what their thought is. It's like, okay, great. They're not going to be littering. People are obviously drinking them while they're driving, which is illegal.
Right.
And then they're throwing them out the window.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
okay, cool. Like, yeah, all right. We're going to get rid of all that negative stuff, right? Wrong. No, they're just going to switch to half pints.
Yeah,
now they're going to be drinking more than they probably necessarily wanted to.
Right, a
or
lot
should.
faster.
A lot faster.
And then firing glass bottles.
And then they're going to be
out the
firing
window.
glass bottles out their window, snagging up with a bunch of broken glass instead of plastic that you can just go and easily, safely scoop up and clean. And then on top of that, what do you really think people aren't going to drive to Dartmouth?
Of course.
Lakeville,
It's so close.
Westport, and just go over the line and be like,
New
okay.
Bedford's small. I mean, not small, but there's a lot of easily
It's dense. It's dense.
Right.
It's not overly huge,
Right.
like physically.
Neighboring towns are fucking 5 minutes out of the way.
I mean, you
know
can
what I
drive. You can literally hit.
If you really want
Dartmouth.
nips that bad, you can.
Yes,
fucking get 'em.
you will. And then you're going to get people going to other towns, and rather than buying the 1 or 2 or 3 that they buy at the local liquor store,
Yeah.
they're going to go buy a whole sleeve at the other place.
Dartmouth, Fairhaven,
Fairhaven, they're banned.
Oh, Fairhaven, they're
Fairhaven banned them, or Fairhaven already moved to ban them. I think
So-
as of January 1st, they're
banned.
banned.
So all the neighboring towns that didn't ban them, all their liquor store guys are fucking jumping for joy because they're about to get a skyrocket in sales.
Yeah,
on
to
fucking-
shout out to Brandon in the chat, banning plastic bags. I think banning plastic bags is stupid too. Like, how about we just ban littering? Why don't we just do that? Let's just ban littering. How about that? Like, you can't litter.
Don't they do that already?
I'm just trying to use liberal logic here.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm trying to use liberal logic.
$500 fine or something. I just see the guy in the car with his arm out the window and shit. And there's
Yeah,
a sign.
$500 fine for littering. Like, yeah, we've already tried that. I mean, getting rid of plastic bags. No, fuck that. I hate paper bags. Paper bags suck. Bring back plastic bags. I want plastic bags back. Like, 2 trips are for pussies, man.
Yeah,
I don't want to fucking have to take 3 trips to my car to get all my groceries out of it. No, I want 1 trip. I can put every single plastic bag on my arm and
fucking forklift
and walk
just
and walk it in, and that's it. Like, no, getting rid of this stuff doesn't do anything. That's the problem. Is your ban the ultimately the root of the issue here is not the nip.
right.
The root of the issue is the shitty behavior of the people that throw them out the window.
right.
So you're trying to legislate shitty behavior out of people,
Which doesn't work.
which never works. It's never worked. It will never work. People who litter, that just means they have no accountability. They have disdain. They just don't
They don't
care
give
about
a
their
fuck.
neighborhood. They don't
No.
give a fuck. They're going to throw the shit out the window whether it's convenient for you or not. They don't care. They're like, all right, whatever. Like, I don't give a shit. It's on the side of the road. Not my problem.
Right.
And unfortunately, that is a very common theme that you see amongst people, especially
Right.
when you start to get more and more densely populated areas.
Of course.
So by getting rid of nips, what are you really doing? You're forcing people to
You're
go to.
squeezing the balls of the fucking guys who make a shitload of money out of the fucking liquor stores.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
for example, one liquor store that apparently, and this is what I was told. I wasn't there, but one liquor store owner who was at the meeting said that he makes $400,000 a year in revenue off of nips, like $400,000 of income. That's a profit, but that's just what he brings in.
Right, that's
off
total
of nips.
sales.
Total sales in nips, $400,000. Now you figure a nip costs anywhere from $1 to $3, depending on if you get the fancy ones.
Right.
You know, those Tito's ones, the glass ones, they start getting expensive.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you figure, all right, on average, call it, $2.
Right. 99 bananas.
Now you got one guy doing $400,000 a year. You got another guy probably doing half that, and another guy probably doing 20 of that, twice that. The rough estimate I think that was thrown out was it's about $10 million in sales in nips a year in New Bedford alone.
Wow.
Okay, all right. Let's just say
That's a lot.
Or
of
let's just say,
fucking
hypothetically, let's just be really conservative. Let's cut that in half and say $5 million. Even though one store does $400,000 a year,
Right.
and I don't know how many liquor stores there are in New Bedford, but it's got to be 50, 60, 70, 80, 100.
100 and something.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I'm sure there's more than we can even count.
Right.
But let's just say conservatively it's $5 million a year. That's $5 million in sales tax that you are now no longer receiving.
Right.
Now, what do you think the city is going to do
To make up for that.
to make up for that?
Tax us.
What do you just think they're going to be like? Oh well, we lost that revenue.
No,
Guess
they're gonna
what?
jack taxes up
Guess we'll
somewhere
have to
else.
figure it out.
No,
No, they're going to raise taxes somewhere
They're gonna
else.
tax us again somewhere else.
So now, instead of the people who buy the nips paying that tax money,
We are.
now they're going to put it onto the people like me and you who don't buy nips every
Right,
day.
because I could give a fuck about nips.
Right.
I never go to
Again,
the store.
I
ever
don't
looking
care
for
if they
nips.
ban nips forever. If nips were forever gone, I'd be like, That's lame.
Listen.
Oh, well. I guess I'll just bring a bottle of birdie juice onto the golf course as opposed to a nip.
Nothing for nothing, dude, but like, and I'm not trying to attack anybody out there that does buy nips because maybe you do need them for a good reason, but like, I really don't need alcohol that bad to where I see that I need the reason for a fucking nip.
Well, because you're not a raging alcoholic, and
I don't need to stow shit. Guess what? If I'm going on a fucking plane, I'll just buy a couple drinks in the airport, get shit-faced beforehand, and have one or two on the plane to keep it going until I fucking pass out or something.
Well, that's the thing.
You know what I mean? Like,
but again, I don't need it that bad.
But like driving around, like, what do I look like? FJ, you know what I mean? Like, I don't drive around all day, hopping from town, in the immediate town area with, a fucking 18 rack in my goddamn passenger seat. You know what I mean?
Well,
nips everywhere
and then I started thinking of the reasons why people discard nips so freely out the window, and so cavalierly, because they do it all the time. And I'm like, well, it's probably because we have an open container law in Massachusetts where it's a $500 fine if you get pulled over with an open container in your car.
Right.
Whether you're OUI or not, if you have an empty beer can in the back of your seat from a party 3 weeks ago that you just forgot or missed or somebody threw in, like, I don't know, whatever, and
I've gotten in my truck and there's empty containers in the back of my fucking truck.
I was pulled out of my car. I told you this story earlier today. Yeah. I was pulled out of my car on 195 because we had a 12-pack of Heineken still sealed up.
Yep.
Me and a good buddy of ours, we were on our way to Rhode Island to watch WrestleMania. This is in 2006, 7, 8, somewhere in there. Probably like 05, 06. We were on our way to Rhode Island. We hopped on 195 at Fonts Corner. This is 3:30 in the afternoon. We hop on in February, whatever it was, a Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. We were going to our buddy's house to watch a wrestling thing. We get pulled over by a statey right out. We get off. We take the exit. We get on the highway. Immediately, the statey throws his lights on and pulls us over. Boop, boop. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, my whole car's legit. Everything's fine. We didn't break any laws. What's the problem? First of all, the statey gives me a bullshit-ass excuse to pull me over. Like, oh, you got a plate light out? I'm like, well, that's funny because my lights aren't on. How would you know I have a plate light out?
3 o'clock in the
3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's bullshit. He sees the 12-pack of Heineken in the back seat, pulls us both out of the car, hands on the hood, feet apart, pats us down, and then he's chastising us. It's a $500 fine if you have an open container in here. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, I better not find anything in there. I'm like, well, unless you got something in your pocket that you're about to dump out in my back seat, you ain't finding nothing, dude. It's a sealed-ass 12-pack of Heineken that we're bringing to a buddy's house as a gift. Like, as like a, hey, thanks for having us over. So I was made very clear on what the fine was for an open container at a very young age. I was probably 22 at the time.
Huh.
You know what I mean? Like, it was like, and this statey was, of course he was young. You could tell he was pretty new to the job. He was going to save the world. He was going to clean up the West with a badge and a gun. And he was out. He was going to get us, So that's why everybody's like, oh, you don't know what it's like to drive when you're black. I'm like, I've driven as a 22-year-old white kid and been treated like shit. So, whatever. But neither here nor there. The open container fine is what I think fucking chaps my ass the most. Because if we don't have an open container law, right, maybe people are going to be less inclined to throw their nips out the window. So why don't we just get rid of the open container law? Let people just, okay, you got an empty nip, throw it on the floor of your car. If you're OUI, you're OUI, whether there's an open container or not.
Right.
So who gives a shit?
Right. You want to clean up the littering problem? Just allow
now,
it,
if this guy wants to throw the shit, throw the evidence that he's been drinking on the front seat of his car, hey, that's on you, bud. Maybe that's actually a better thing. Maybe we'll get more OUI, people off the road for OUI.
OUI, yeah. Think about all them nips that you find on the side of the road. If those were in cars when people got pulled over for driving like assholes, when they're fucking shit-faced, it is what it is. But
maybe you get rid of the open container law and you say, you know what? If you're a passenger in a car and you want to have a couple beers, like, fuck it, who cares? Like,
you're not driving.
There's plenty of states that let you do that. You're not driving. Okay, if you're operating now. If you're in the car and you got an open beer, like, you're damn right. If I'm driving, you're not drinking that while I'm in the car, like I'm driving.
Have some fucking respect.
Yeah,
asshole.
no, because I'm not going through a fucking sobriety test right now because there's a damn good chance I'm still drunk from last night.
Yeah. So there might be some traces.
Yeah, you can fuck off of that.
Right.
But hey, listen, to each their own, man. This is America. You should be allowed to do what you want to do, right? I mean, and again, this just comes back to another instance of government just trying to dictate our lives to us and just and play safety nanny all the time. And it's not even a safety nanny thing. This is I can't help but think this is probably going to go back to some bullshit ass climate change initiative or some fucking stupid thing like that where it's like, oh yeah, no, seriously, like the world's going to end in 7 years unless you give us like wicked amount of money. Then we can maybe fix it.
Right.
Maybe. But we'll probably need more money after that.
Yeah.
Probably. You know, and then you got that fucking autistic cunt Greta Thunberg up there. You're like, how dare you?
Yeah.
You know, shut up, bitch, you fucking loser. Yeah. But anyway, but no, I just think this whole nip ban thing is absolutely ridiculous. I think the way out of this, though, and this is, I'm not an expert on this. It was just kind of like glossed over to me by an elected official in the city of New Bedford. I guess the way that we're going to go about it now is that we have to collect, I think it's 3,500 signatures by September, sometime, some date in September, in order to get a ballot question for November where the people will be able to actually vote on it. So when you go to vote in November and this question comes up on the ballot, you vote yes or no. Listen, if the city of New Bedford votes like, yes, ban nips, hey, whatever, dude. The people have spoken.
Right.
That's how this is supposed to work.
Right.
But to have a mayor who's got this bullshit initiative of being a clean city, which, again, I'm not against cleaning up the city.
Right.
But I'm definitely – but, you know, here's the thing, too, and this is a funny thing about politics. It's like, oh, we're going to be the cleanest gateway city in New England. That's our goal. And everybody claps and cheers. And it's like, okay, but how do you plan on accomplishing that? Oh, well, we're going to ban plastic bags, nips. We're gonna ban all this shit. Like, whoa,
straws,
and then all of a sudden everybody's like, whoa, hold on.
Right.
I don't know if I'm on board with that. But they can't say that part out loud. You know, not until they're already in office, because then it becomes unpopular.
Right. Why don't they just hire more overtime for the for the city guys to just run more streets?
Or I mean, what's the inmate population in Massachusetts in minimums?
Oh boy.
I mean,
fuck the minimums. Put everybody out there. I want a chain gang.
I'm sure there's plenty of manual
Rifling
labor available.
Shit, yeah.
You know, I'm pretty sure it's what are we at? 5,600, 6,000, 7,000 inmates in the state of Massachusetts now?
Really? That's it now?
It's down big, yeah.
In just state?
Yeah.
All
in just state.
Because it used to be like 22,000.
That's probably
like
state and county.
11,000 was state. This was back like
well,
8
you know, I
years
mean, they
ago.
let everybody out because of COVID. You know?
Right. This was also 8 years ago.
Yeah, everybody out, you know, because everybody who's in state prison, you know, they only ended up doing a 10-year bid because they had a roach in there. They had a roach in their cup holder. You know, that's why.
Right. Well, there's plenty.
I rolled through a stop sign and this racist cop pulled me over.
Yeah.
It's like, oh right, we'll ignore the fucking $50,000 worth of fentanyl you had in the back seat. But, you know,
I know, right?
You're right. We'll leave that part out.
There's plenty of officers and people out there that would love the overtime to go run a chain gang. So you know what? I say they bring it back.
Let's bring it back. But yeah, anyway, I wanted to start the show with that because, I don't know, it just really seared my Nesmans when I found out they banned them unilaterally. And, you know, without, again, I know John Mitchell's an elected official. And this is what comes back to, you know, everybody always says, oh, elections have consequences. Well, if you're a nip drinker or a fan of nips or a fan of not letting the government tell you what you can and can't have, and you voted for John Mitchell, this one's on you. I mean, this is what we say when elections have consequences. This is why you have to ask the questions. You don't just go and say, oh, is it D or is it R? I will vote for him. Okay. Like, no, that's brainless, stupid shit.
An idiot. Right.
You're an idiot. You're not a you should everybody.
Given an opportunity to do something that a lot of people in other countries don't fucking have, and people just don't give a shit, and it's absolutely fucking insane.
Because we take it for granted.
I know.
We take our right to vote and to choose our elected officials for granted.
Crazy.
And it's just I get it's so incensed sometimes, and sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring. I'm gonna run for a position in a local position, and I'm gonna try to affect change. It's not gonna happen, dude. You're not going to do anything. Like, some of the stories I was talking to one of our elected officials about today were so infuriating. I mean, something as simple as, like, getting a stop sign put up at a busy intersection.
Right.
And then you have the traffic commission, who I believe are unpaid in this city. Yeah. Let's just say, when you want to say power hungry,
right,
like, this is the kind of shit that you go to. And this is where it comes down to with school boards and school officials and shit like that. And this is what absolutely just pisses me the fuck off about all of this stuff. And it's something as simple as nips, something that I'm not even mad that they're banning. I'm not mad that nips are being banned because I don't care because it really doesn't affect me.
I'm just mad on the principle in which they stand on.
But it's the point.
Right, it's the point.
It's the fact that the government is unilaterally telling you what you can and can't have, and that I don't get down with at all on any level, to any degree.
Right.
No, thank you. I don't believe if John Mitchell wants to clean up the city, good. Figure it out.
Don't tell me what I
can or can't buy.
It's not my
and
fucking
you know what?
problem.
And honestly, I don't know John Mitchell that well. I don't really know much about his policies and where he sits. I'm sure he's a liberal.
Democrat.
Liberal. Potato.
Say there's a blue D next to his name.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care. English. Brit.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. But I don't really know much about him. And maybe he's got some good ideas. Maybe he's actually a decent candidate. Maybe he's actually not, as far as Democrats and liberals go, maybe he's not bad.
Right.
Maybe he's a guy that you could actually level with and maybe, make a couple and have a conversation with. I don't really know him that well. But when you appoint people to carry your water for you, and again, it's a political ploy. I get it. I know I understand. I see the game for exactly how they're playing it, and that's fine. But again, elections have consequences. So if you like nips or plastic bags or whatever else they're going to ban, because if you think this is it, they already told you can't have menthol cigarettes.
Yeah.
Big blow to the black community. Oof.
Definitely.
Yeah, because, but don't worry, everybody knows in the black community that the liberals, they're out for you. They're your guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't been fucking you for the last 30 years, 50 years, 60 years, whatever.
Right.
But,
baiting you into voting because they give you a little bit of bread every once in a while.
Neither here nor there, dude. It's just it incenses me. But politics is a dirty game. It's a dirty game, and these people are playing the dirty game, and I don't like it. I don't want it. I don't think cigarettes of any kind should be banned. I don't think cigarette advertising should be banned.
No.
I mean,
their companies just as well. If you want to fucking buy butts and go fucking smoke,
why is it that cigarette advertising gets banned, but alcohol can fucking advertise out the ass?
Pharmaceuticals. You could fucking pump drugs down your goddamn throat, which I mean is probably just on the same playing field as bad as fucking cigarettes in most cases. For Christ's sakes, like that's fine, but you can't have Joe Cool up there.
We got a pill for that.
That's fucking crazy.
Oh, you got this problem? We got a pill for that.
We're the only country in the world, by the way, that fucking advertises pharmaceuticals and shit like that we do. We're the only one. We don't. No other country rams fucking, Lunesta down your fucking throat, because you can't fucking sleep. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's insane.
Well, because we know that there's. Again, and this is why we could have a treatment for cancer. We could have a cure for cancer. We could have a cure for HIV. We could have a cure for probably everything, but the money's in the treatment. We all know that. But that's a whole nother show and a whole nother day. Big Pharma, that's another one that just sears my Nesmans. But we will touch back. We will circle back to Big Pharma when we get to Bronny James in a little bit, because I know there's some people out there that are listening that are probably going to have the same thoughts that we do. Yep. When they're going to wonder, hey, Bronny James, 18-year-old, cardiac arrest. What booster were you on, bud?
How many?
What number? 774-992-8702. Thanks for hearing us out on the nips. No, I'm good. I'm good right now.
You want to hold it down?
Yeah, I'll hold it down.
All right.
I don't have Sean here to hold it down while Paul goes and actually, you know what? You might as well just top me off. Fuck it. Yeah, here, we'll do this. Boom. There we go. All right, now you can just talk to me and look at me. But no, thank you for entertaining me on that. I appreciate you all. Give me a call if you want. 774-992-8702. That's the phone number. What are your thoughts on the nip ban in New Bedford? Obviously, this is not sports related. This is not something that we generally do a lot of. But I felt like it was important to discuss and get out because it's a big deal, and it was a hot button issue. Today, I didn't know this was happening today. I thought this was something that was happening in November or election season when things usually take place. I guess in my head anyway. I didn't know this was going to be a thing, and now all of a sudden I think they've got 90 days or 3 months to the liquor stores, that is, to liquidate their inventory. So now I got to go stock up at Linden's Liquors up the street. Shout out, love you guys. And get plenty of birdie juice and butter shots so I can, make it through. I don't know. Hopefully I'll buy enough to get me through next golf season. I don't hit that many birdies in a typical round of golf, so birdie juice tends to last me a little bit. I'm not that good. unfortunately, as much as I try. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Anyway, let's see. State of Math has approximately 4,200 inmates currently. Wow, that's way down. Holy shit, 4,200. Well, out of those 4,200, Drew, I'm sure we could find, I don't know, 500 of them to go clean up nips around the state. I mean, just, go van by van, just right around. There you go. There's your nip cleanup crew. Now we don't have to ban them and lose all that revenue, too. I mean, again, the tax revenue thing, that's what kind of like, I think people don't realize, like, yeah, all right, cool, we banned nips. That's, let's call it, again, conservatively. We're talking anywhere from $5 to $10 million a year in sales tax revenue, and now we're not going to have that. So where do you think that extra $5 to $10 million is going to come from? What do you think? City halls? Do you think they're going to take a pay cut? No, they're not going to do that. That's stupid. They would never do that. Nobody takes pay cuts. It's just they're going to find something else to tax you on. Your property taxes will go up. Your sales tax will go up on other things. Your car, the RMV, like whatever it might be. Who knows? Like they'll figure it out. Don't worry. They will definitely figure that out. So we're going to get into some sports stuff. We got, obviously, the big news with Bronny James. We got Justin Herbert inking a 5-year extension, making him the highest-paid player in NFL history. Jaylen Brown is now the highest-paid NBA player in history, which I would love to hear from the Celtics fans on that one because, I don't know, I got some mixed thoughts on that. And then we're going to get into all the drama from Pocono. I know, NASCAR is not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm a huge NASCAR fan. It is definitely my cup of tea, and I like to talk about it, so we'll get into that, too, a little bit later in the show. But give us a call, 774-992-8702. You get the audio-only stream in the description. There's a link in the description if you don't want to tie up your phone with just using Facebook Live. Mixler, mixlr.com/Joey-Fats. You can go there and just get the audio rather than having to watch the video. Thank you, sir. This show also brought to you by Kettle One and the Denver Broncos. Florida's natural grapefruit juice. Yeah, so we'll get into all that as we go. We got some good videos. We got some quality content here coming up for you, especially in the NASCAR realm. Punches were thrown. What do you want to do? You want to just transition real quick into Bronny? I
don't know how much there was really to say on it other than he went cardiac arrest and he was in the ICU, but he's out now. He's recovering.
He was treated and released. Apparently, he was treated and released. He's okay. He had a cardiac arrest event. Oh, right. Sorry. Paul's back. He went into cardiac arrest during a training event or practice or whatever it was. He was training. I got some questions because I know everybody who was the anti-vaxxers, if you will, which, again, I'm not anti-vaccination, okay? I fully believe that the polio vaccine and, the measles and the mumps and the chicken pox vaccines, like, I'm fully on board with all those. Those all work. All right, I fully believe that those work. I have no issues with them. I'm not one of these, crazy flat earth people that's like, oh, man, I don't know. I'm not sticking that needle in my arm. Man, listen.
With your tinfoil hat on.
If you tell me, like, hey, listen, bro, there is a drug out there. If you take it, your penis will grow 12 inches, and you will become Superman, superhuman strength. You'll be like It's Dreams World on TikTok. I'd be like, okay, I'll take that.
I probably would.
They're like, but there's risks. I'm like, yeah, I don't care.
Which are they?
How bad are the risks? They're like, well, it could potentially kill you, but how quick?
Right.
How many likes will I be able to get on Instagram before I die?
How much money what can I do?
Will I be able to bench press 700 pounds? Because if so,
more than that.
I would get. I mean, I might. Listen, I'm just saying, I have a price. Okay. Yeah. I can be. 12-inch dick. I can be bought. Is what I'm saying.
Right. If you got a 12-inch dick, you better be able to bench more than 700 fucking pounds.
Why would you need to? You have a 12-inch dick. Who gives a shit?
I'm just saying.
Like I have a 12-inch dick. Yeah, how much do you bench? 135. Yeah, but he's got a 12-inch dick.
Yeah, 200 pounds per inch is what you need to.
I mean, shit. Tough to argue with a man with a 12-inch dick. Just saying, bro. You just whip that thing out. Just like, all right, yeah, you win. But anyway, so I'm just saying I have a price. I can be bought. There's if you tell me that there's a drug out there that will do X, Y, and Z, or a pill or whatever, there's a decent chance I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm going to at least consider this.
I'm going to look into this.
I'm going to at least consider this. And then I'm probably going to end up, because it's me, and be like, well, I mean, humans, we've been around for a long time. We're pretty resilient. We're a resilient bunch. I think I could throw something in my body and try it and just see what happens. So I'm not anti-vax, and that's a very common. And anti-vax is like a very blanket statement for anybody who is anti-COVID vaccination. Just because I was anti getting a needle forced into your arm for a vaccination for a disease that we knew wasn't going to kill you doesn't mean that I'm anti. Yeah, that doesn't mean I'm they threaten your job with. Doesn't mean I'm anti-vaccination.
Right.
Okay, like I said, I believe in the measles, the mumps, the polio, all the vaccines, the vaccines that you can get, hepatitis, all that kind of shit. Sure, yeah, that works. It's studied, it's proven. But when you get to the COVID vaccine, this one, I mean, to say this was easy to see would be an understatement. Now, I don't ever consider myself the smartest man in the room. I'm just kidding. I do all the time. But I'm usually not the smartest man in the room. Okay? I'm pretty smart. I'm pretty slick. I've been around a little bit. I know a few things, okay? But I'm not always the smartest guy in the room. That being said, my bullshit meter is never off. That fucking thing is dialed fucking in. I mean, like, you could be in the Oppenheimer movie, like, testing radiation. Like, yeah, that's me. Then my bullshit meter. It's fucking spot on. And I'm not talking about the ones from, like, Chernobyl with it, like, not terrible, not great. No. My shit.
They lied about it anyway.
My shit is precise. And it was very easy to see through the vaccine thing. So, again, I just have to raise the question, was Bronny vaccinated, first and foremost? Was he boosted? How many boosters did he take? And why are we seeing what seems to be an alarming level of 18 to 25-year-old professional
athletes,
or high-level amateur athletes who should be at the peak of their physical condition
dropping dead,
having these cardiac events, some of them dying, some of them not? I mean, we saw Damar Hamlin get railed in the chest. Now, could that have been that one, crazy, like, blip of a second,
whatever they call that thing.
Yeah, the commotio corditis or whatever the fuck it was.
Right.
That thing that everybody was an expert on for about 3 weeks.
Yep.
And then they moved on to what was after that.
Thanks for the championship, dog.
Yeah. They were experts on getting trains run on cops in Tennessee, and then it was submarines and whatever.
And then it was chemicals and stuff because the Pennsylvania railroad.
Oh right, yes, the railroad thing.
Everybody was a hazmat.
Yeah, whatever happened to that?
Who the fuck knows?
Like, whatever happened to that? Is that just like, you talk about faded out of the news cycle?
Well, because apparently that happens quite a lot in the United States.
Do you know that the FBI investigates, I want to say it's like 1,100 train derailments a year?
In the United States.
In the United States alone?
Yeah.
Trains are like the pit bulls of transportation, dude.
They suck.
They suck.
Not enough money invested into them to keep them safe, and they're just like, haul more shit. You know what I mean? It's like, Jesus. They're the whipping boys.
Unlike pit bulls, though, trains are actually, those are, we rely on them. Right. We don't rely on pit bulls.
Useful.
They're useful, right. Yes. Pit bulls, to me, whatever. We could get rid of every pit bull tomorrow, and like 6 people would be like, oh, no, my pets. And you're like, you'll get over it. Get a bunny. Because you can have one now. Because your dog.
Australian Shepherd.
Get a bunny because now your dog won't kill it.
Have a kid. Because now your dog won't kill it.
Oh, yeah, have a kid. Your dog won't kill it.
Start a family, man,
Yeah, But anyway, that's like faded out wicked quick. But what was I saying? Where was I going with this? You just derailed me.
Shit. You're basically talking about, a bunch of bullshit and so. Yeah, I'm fucking lost.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, we're talking about Bronny and the vaccines and everything
that's
else.
where we were.
So my bullshit meter, blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, back to the Bronny thing. I want to know, there's questions to be asked here.
Right.
Because was he vaccinated? Was he boosted? What number booster was he on?
Right.
Because those are all things now, because you got guys, athletes dropping like flies.
And you know what's another thing, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but people don't realize, where was he when this happened? At the USC Training Center in downtown fucking Los Angeles or somewhere, probably pretty fucking close.
To a medical facility?
So, how severe was this cardiac arrest? If he was anybody else in any other situation, would this person have passed away or not?
Now,
or because he was under direct, ridiculous medical care from the facility as well to
Much
the
like
hospital.
DeMar Hamlin was.
Right, exactly. Like, what would have happened?
Like,
how serious was this
Outside of
cardiac
being at a
arrest?
hospital, I don't think DeMar Hamlin could have picked a better place to have that episode.
Is there stages to cardiac? It's just all one thing, right? It's just, your
I mean,
heart starts quivering and ain't pumping blood anymore.
I'm not
right?
going to sit here and try to,
doctor it up. I don't know either. This is a general question I have concern because I don't know a lot about the difference.
I'm not a
between
doctor. I just
cardiac
play one on
arrest.
Facebook like all my other friends.
Right. Yeah. Every week when something bad happens, right?
Yes, but that being said, but I am an expert on submarines now, or submersibles. So, I got that going for me.
How could anybody not be with all the shit they cram down your throat about it?
Because Gorlak the Destroyer.
None of those people died. They all escaped billions of dollars worth of debt and faked their own deaths.
I think they were all on Epstein's list.
They faked their own.
You know what I think? I think Obama's cook that drowned.
Yeah.
I think
he knew something.
He knew. He knew things.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theories 101. But anyway, I feel terrible for Bronny. I hope he's okay. Honestly, I hope he makes a full recovery.
I know.
Because he's just an 18-year-old kid. I mean, the kid doesn't deserve this. Nobody deserves it. But it raises questions. But then you get the people on the other side of it that are like, how dare you ask about his medical history? It's none of your business if he was vaccinated or not. Be like, actually, yeah, because you already kind of made it our business when you forced us to get the shot.
Yeah, when you did this whole thing.
When you did this whole dance for the last 2.5 years, when you were like, either get this shot in your arm, or you're going to lose your job.
Hippo, what the fuck is that? Show me your papers.
Yeah.
Like, what, really?
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean?
Like, fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So, I hope he's okay. It seems like he's all right. He was treated and released, apparently, and he seems like he's good.
Is this, like, too soon, too insensitive to ask, like, what does this do? Like, what is this going to do for his basketball career?
I mean, I think that's the number one question everybody's asking is, okay, is he okay? He's okay? All right, cool. Now what?
Is he okay?
I don't know.
Okay?
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like,
DeMar Hamlin's coming back. He's starting training camp in 2 days or 3 days, whatever it is.
I just would hate for the kid's career to be sidelined. You have this golden opportunity. You have a boost like nobody else, really, to get yourself into the league and make something of yourself and make your own damn money.
I mean, your dad's arguably the greatest basketball player of all time.
Right. And it's like, at this point, it's like, and I'm not saying like fuck LeBron or anything, but like fuck like your dad's shadow and all that shit. Make something of yourself, get into the league, make some dough, do what you can, and just live a happy life and like fucking, and be like, wow, what a fucking ride. You know what I mean? Like, you don't got to go in there and try and be, the next greatest thing. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. Maybe you won't even last.
Just let it be.
Year.
But just go and let it be.
You have a great opportunity, and I would like to see somebody of like him make.
I mean,
the
Steph
most
Curry
of
was able to
himself.
be better than his dad.
Yeah, and his brother was probably better than
Austin
his dad.
Davis, not so much, but
Right. But like I see kids like that who have it literally handed to them, and I'd rather see them make something of it rather than.
did I say Austin
not.
Davis? I meant Austin Rivers.
Austin Rivers, yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
But that's up to him. I mean, like Johnny Manziel's a different.
It was a
story,
fraudulent slip.
but- right. Yeah. You're a fucking idiot.
It's a mute point. It's water under the fridge. But anyway, but yeah, no, I hope the kid's fine. I hope he ends up making a full recovery. I mean, I'm looking forward to watching his career.
Me too. That's why
I'm rooting
like,
for him.
shit.
I'm
And
rooting.
his
I mean,
younger brother.
I love LeBron. LeBron's my dog. Like, I mean, not off the court. He probably would rather me be dead, but on the court, I mean, listen, man. As long as he wears the purple and gold, I'm all for it. I'm ride or die on LeBron. But and I hope his kid does great. I want to see both of his kids, grow up and be fucking awesome and excel in the NBA and have usher in a whole new era of, I guess they would be Prince Jameses, which was, that's kind of lame, but whatever. It is what it is. It'll be fun. And nonetheless, it will be fun. But sticking in the NBA, Paul, you're a big Celtics fan. You love the Celtics. You ride or die.
I mean,
with your green.
I do love the Celtics.
You are a
I've
borderline
recently-
green teamer, through and through.
What the fuck does that mean, borderline green teamer?
Okay, you're a green teamer because you're completely all in.
I love the Celtics. I don't have any other team but the Celtics.
But
When it comes to basketball, but like I don't let it be known, I'm not sitting here like studying every off fucking season
no.
move and shit like that.
But the Celtics can do no wrong in your eyes. They are your baby, and
Yeah,
you
no,
love
absolutely not, bro. Larry Bird played for that team. That is they are the golden child. Like,
They gave us Larry Bird.
yeah, they gave us fucking Larry Bird, bro.
I wonder if Larry Bird was an Atlanta Hawk, would you be an Atlanta Hawk fan? No.
No, it just would have been like a.
You'd have been like, yeah, Doc Rivers is the greatest player of all
Yeah,
time.
no, it would have been
Fuck
like,
Larry Bird.
Kevin McHale, that guy's the balls, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Or like something, I don't know, Chief, I like Chief, baby, you know what I mean?
So let's talk about this Jaylen Brown contract. So the extension, 5 years, what, $304 million?
303.
300
Well, yeah, 304 because it's like 303 and some.
It's 303 and some
XY
change.
Fucking Z change, whatever.
Jaylen Brown gets absolutely paid. We knew he was going to make some money. We just didn't know where. I think this is just a unless there is something that I am completely missing with the new CBA that I haven't heard of yet that is going to change in that, I'll put that out there as a caveat of like, okay, I can pivot off of this take.
Right.
This might go down as one of the worst contracts in NBA history. To pay a number 2, a guy that you have already you have your number 1. You've said Tatum's your number 1. You're riding with Tatum as your number 1. To pay your number 2 in Jaylen Brown $304 million, an average of what, $60 million a year?
Yeah, something like that.
The highest paid player in NBA history is now Jaylen Brown? I mean, I'm sorry. Is this Looney Tunes? What planet are we on? How is Jaylen Brown making more money than Steph Curry and LeBron James right now?
I don't know.
I'm just honestly, and I'd love to hear from Celtics fans to get your take on this because I'm just fucking lost. I'm baffled, dude. I knew he was going to get paid, but I was thinking more like 220 to 230.
Yeah, 304 is big, dude. I
Dude,
saw
that's
that and I'm like, damn,
big
what's Tatum's contract?
dollars.
What's Tatum's contract?
I'll look it up.
Because I would like to see, because I meant to do this today when I was talking about it, because to put $304 million in Jaylen Brown's lap and then have
He signed a 5-year, $163 million contract that will
ends the season, next season, 2023-24.
Yeah, 23-24, I believe, is the final year of his contract.
So
Let me
this
just
coming
double check here, because I don't want to put false information out there. And
because if you're gonna pay Brown,
no, it runs through 2026.
Oh my God.
So he's on the
Tatum
books
must
this
be
year for
so
$32 million.
fucking pissed,
He's on the
bro.
books next year for $34 million.
Wow.
And then he has a player option for the 5th year. So he's got this year and next year.
He must be.
If I'm reading this right.
Livid. Not livid, but I bet that he's feeling some type of way right now. Supposed to be the number 1, and Jaylen Brown.
He's got a
gets
player
paid.
option after next year.
Bank, bro. He's gonna want to sign a fucking $450 million contract. We're gonna have over $500 million invested into 2 players in the next.
I mean,
4 years.
Or did the Celtics give Jaylen Brown this deal knowing
Tatum's out?
that they're going to let Tatum go and they're going to build around Jaylen Brown? Maybe that's the option. I mean, maybe that's
Luka? Can we get Luka?
Maybe
Can we get Trey?
maybe
not
that's
Luka. I mean, I'm thinking of like.
I don't know
where's
why
Durant?
they would do that.
Durant needs to come on and give me a list of complimentary players to Jaylen Brown. I'm talking like nasty, dude, like something that we can really break the bank with if we're gonna get rid of Tatum. You know what I mean? Because with Tatum, we can shop that fucking name.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
We can almost get anybody.
Maybe you trade Tatum for a boatload of picks, players,
Give us Joker.
money. You're not getting Joker, but
No, give him Tatum and everybody.
except Brown. But then you end up just at square one.
Fuck it. We already locked ourselves into square one by giving Jaylen Brown $300 million.
I just don't understand the reasoning of giving Jaylen Brown $60 million a
Do
year.
they plan on just dismantling the team and liquidating shit? Like,
I can't imagine. I mean, they've been on the cusp the last 3 years. Like,
I
they've
bet they're
been
gonna,
right there, like knocking on the door.
Something tells me that they're doing some funny fucking shit. Brad Stevens is fucking around, and they're going to get rid of Tatum or something if they're giving him double what fucking Tatum's making right now. I know his contract was signed a couple years ago, and he still has some options back when his contract was probably a blockbuster contract, but what I'm saying is to give him 304, if you even give Tatum close to that or more, which you should, him being your number 1, you're going to lock over $500 million into 2 fucking players who clearly have shown you can't win shit together. They can get there, but they're still not good
They
enough
need
to
the
get
third
over the
piece.
hump. They need the third piece. And they get rid of Smart, fine, whatever. I don't care. What's his face there?
Smart was like it's like one of those things you're like, all right, like I'm not overly upset that I lost him.
I'm not mad.
I would have liked to have kept him, but I'm not mad
I'm
that
fine.
we lost him.
I know his defense is good, but it's an embarrassment when you flop as bad as he does. He is so bad at flopping, it pisses me off. So in my own little tiny Paul opinion over here, humbly as I am, but means absolutely nothing to the Celtics or any of their fans, I'm glad Marcus Smart's gone because he was starting to piss me the fuck off.
I just don't. But again, I just don't get it. Like unless you're planning on moving Jason Tatum here, again, a $500 million tied up in two guys. Joey Fats Radio, row one, seat one.
Yo, what's happening?
Yo, what up?
D-Rant.
Just the guy we were trying to talk to.
Yeah, I was actually just driving home, but I was listening. You guys are on the Jaylen Brown contract.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was basically saying if the Celtics get rid of Tatum because they signed Jaylen Brown and they're going to build around Jaylen Brown, what is like the top 5 list of guys that you think that would be able, like the Celtics would be able to go after to basically complement Jaylen Brown and replace Tatum?
It's tough to say.
I mean, that's a stretch because we're just assuming. That's it's
a hypothetical.
That's a very long shot hypothetical. That's not even something that we're not even floating that out there.
They failed last year when they didn't complete the Kevin Durant trade. They had enough to get Kevin Durant. Guys like Marcus Smart and
they should have signed him when he was a free agent 4 years ago.
And you could have had Kevin fucking Durant.
If you put Tatum, Brown, and Durant on the same team, that team mows through the East.
No, Brown would be gone in that instance.
Okay, so if you put Tatum and Durant,
if they
then
traded for Durant, yeah, Jaylen Brown would have been the deal for Durant.
They're kind of two born losers. I don't know. I don't know. You know, there's just something about certain guys that can't get it done. And Kevin Durant's one of them. I know he won 2 rings with the Warriors, but he went to a 73-win team. It's not like he went to it's not like he went to Cleveland and was like, all right, I'm going to pull you up out of the depths and, like LeBron did. But I don't know. I'm just saying the whole replacing Jason Tatum thing is a very deep hypothetical because, again, we're just floating it out there as to why why did the Celtics decide to give Jaylen Brown $304 million and make him the highest paid player in NBA history?
My assumption is they based it off of, essentially
average.
Just a consistent guy that can give you 20-plus points average per season, healthy, not really too much injury history.
Right, just on his face, right? The nose or whatever he had, that was it.
Yeah, and then,
really
I know Joe was mentioning about the CBA. I think teams are going to be able to spend a little bit more, in the upcoming seasons. I was seeing reports that the kid on OKC, Glizzy Alexander, they're saying he could get like $400 million.
Jesus, really? Because of this new CBA that's coming out?
That's what I'm saying.
That's crazy because we were talking today, and Fats, correct me if I'm wrong, because this was like you're saying about how the CBA is basically going to be a crippling factor for teams that are homegrown versus.
Yeah, so I didn't get to finish reading the article, but there was an article on ESPN that basically said that the new CBA is basically it's going to handcuff teams. How the Golden State Warriors were pushing for that rule. The owner wanted them to be exempt from the luxury tax because they were re-signing their own guys that they drafted and groomed and brought up. You remember that whole thing? He wanted that to be put into place.
Right.
Apparently, the new CBA is going to do the exact opposite, and it's really going to hurt teams. And I didn't get to read the whole thing. I kind of spaced it out, and I didn't get a chance today to read it before we got on the air. But allegedly, I'm just curious as to what is going to happen with this new CBA and what I'm missing here. Because again, Jaylen Brown getting $304 million over 5 years is an absolute mystery to me.
Yeah.
I mean I know he's a good player.
Like I said, it has to be the new CBA coming where teams will be able to, have more money.
Maybe, and that's what I was saying today.
players.
I was like, maybe there's something in there where the Celtics they figured it out, they read it, they know what's coming, and they're like, okay, if we do this now, we'll be grandfathered in, and it'll give us more wiggle room down the line, and we'll be able to actually maneuver this better if we do it now. It's kind of like what the Chiefs did with Mahomes, right? When looking at what not to get ahead and get out over our skis here, but we'll get into the NFL in a minute. But Herbert signs that deal, making him the highest paid player in NFL history today, with the 5 years, 62 million. Put him at 58 or 55. 61 a year.
61 million a year.
61 million a year, making him the highest paid quarterback, and now Mahomes gets dropped like the 9th highest paid player.
At like 41 or 42 or something?
Yeah, so you're looking at it now and you're like, damn, the Chiefs got a bargain. And I said that on this show when they signed him. I'm like, the Chiefs are smart for doing this. It's a 10-year deal. They're already saying they're going to rework his contract to make him the highest paid.
Of course, because he deserves it.
Because he deserves it.
Right.
But, again, unless there is something in this new CBA for the NBA that I'm missing, I cannot figure out why you would give a number 2 a $304 million supermax extension.
I think Tatum's going to get a similar deal, and they'll keep those two together, I think.
Okay, great, but enjoy being third in the East and being like, you know what I mean?
Will get his deal next year, and that'll be that.
But unless
get some rings with those two as their core.
But Durant, correct me if I'm wrong, right? That's not going to leave them a lot of wiggle room to go out and get additions and bring guys in. So they're going to rely heavily on the draft. They're going to rely heavily on, role players and casts off and things like that.
Brown essentially, if Jaylen Brown's getting 60, Tatum should get more, correct?
I would assume so. I mean, the Celtics said as much. They said he was their number 1. I mean, unless you're going to pay your number 2 more than your number 1, that doesn't really sound like he's your number 1.
Talk about the Bronny James thing real quick. I know you guys were talking about that
we
earlier.
just crossed over.
But let me hold on. Let me just ask you this, because the whole Tatum thing getting paid. If Tatum doesn't elevate to the level of Kobe, LeBron, Duncan,
all in one.
Not even all in one, but or a Giannis or a true
Kawhi.
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant was known as the second best player for a very long time.
Yeah, if Jason Tatum doesn't elevate his game to that level of elite player, which again he is not right now, no matter what the green teamers tell you, he is not elite right now. He is not an elite player. He has elite talent. But right now he's Carmelo Anthony.
And he's got good numbers.
He's Carmelo Anthony, and we need him to be LeBron if you're a Boston fan, okay? And he's not there.
We need him to be Kobe. We need him to be mentally tough.
Right. He needs to be. He needs to
shy
be
away when the spotlight is fucking burning down on him, and it's like, bro, this is your team. You don't put it on your back, and then you disappear.
I don't want to beleaguer the point here, but you need him to be the man.
Right.
And right now, and he's not the man right now.
No, not really.
And if he doesn't become the man,
what are we gonna do?
And you pay him $350 million or whatever it is,
we're gonna be over. We're almost gonna be $1 billion in debt to 2 players.
Yeah. And what are you winning?
Favor, I believe you guys are all correct on your points. The only thing I'll put in Tatum's favor is that it did take LeBron some years to but Durant, Jordan as well.
But we knew Durant. We knew from day one. LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, AI. We knew, okay, those dudes are dogs.
It took them a lot of years. It took them 7, 8, 9 years to get their first title.
We know that. And it's easy. We're looking back at it, but we knew we first guessed that. We knew LeBron and Kobe and Jordan were going to be great. We knew right off the rip how good they really were and that they were the dude, and it was just going to take the right circumstances. Jason Tatum is not in that conversation. We're not looking at Jason Tatum his rookie year the same way we looked at LeBron, Kobe, or Jordan.
I don't think I've ever.
We're looking at a guy where we're like, okay, yeah, he's got potential. Yeah, he could be good someday.
I don't think I've ever looked at Tatum on the same level.
But he is where no one, and if anyone is looking at Jason Tatum the same way over the first 5 years of his career, the way they looked at Jordan, Kobe, or LeBron, get the fuck out of here. I'm not even having a conversation with you. You're not a serious. You're not a serious person. You're not a serious basketball fan. I don't want to hear it. Get out.
He's soft.
I agree.
So just to put it that
thing,
way, but yes.
I mean, this could really, make a big dent if, maybe they hold him out for the whole year. Maybe he doesn't even play college this year. He might.
I honestly, I hope.
Isn't his plan to run 2 years and go, right?
I
Well,
think
one
that's
year.
If he
the
doesn't play this year, and he has to play a full year
you gotta
next
play
year,
a
and they
full
hold him
year,
out
yeah.
for a year.
Right. Oh, 1 full year.
You got to play 1 full year, and
Yeah,
honestly,
like, what if
I
medical
hope.
staff just says, "Nah, you got to take the year off."
I hope that's
Like-
not the case. I really hope he gets a chance to play. I mean, listen, regardless of vaccination status, his political beliefs, his dad's beliefs, I don't really care about any of that. The bottom line is, an 18-year-old kid. Okay.
Yeah.
I know he was born on he was born on third base, probably thinking he hit a triple, and that's okay. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's very down to earth. Maybe he's a very realist.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say I'm
Fuck
gonna give him
dude.
the benefit,
Yeah,
dude.
I've never heard the kid even speak.
Listen,
I don't even know what his voice sounds like.
I like LeBron. I've always liked LeBron. LeBron made me, he put me at odds with him when he came out and basically said, when he was like a cab, and had all that shit going on. I was like, all right, cool, man. Like, I kind of wear a blue uniform to work every day, and that doesn't really sit well with me. So I'm gonna root for you on the court, but off the court, you can kind of go fuck yourself. Outside of that, though, I'm gonna give his kid the benefit of the doubt. I really, honestly, truly hope to God this kid makes 100% full recovery.
Facts.
And he is back in a minute.
I want to see him play with his dad,
half a minute.
bro.
I just want to see him play and have an opportunity.
Yeah, and
Because
that too.
honestly, he's 18, dude. The kid's done nothing
the
wrong.
potential's really high on him too. I mean, they moved him up to a 5-star recruit. He's he's got good potential.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
and at the end of the day, dude, again, I'm not rooting against an 18-year-old
Maybe he
kid.
was working out too hard and he wasn't hydrated enough, pushing himself. Something. Let's hope. I hope this isn't like a real like derailer.
I blame the
like
vaccine. I don't give a fuck.
yeah,
I
it
don't
could
give a
be.
fuck what
It
anyone
could be,
thinks.
man. It could be.
I mean, listen, man, Occam's razor. Which is, for those that don't know, that is basically, if you look up Occam's razor, go look it up.
Yep.
It's basically the underlying principle of keep it simple, stupid. When there is a bunch of theories that exist about why something happened, you have all these complex, super fucking,
it's usually the simplest
It's
one.
almost always the simplest one. And 18-year-old kid having a cardiac event who's vaccinated recently against a COVID.
in which you've seen a massive spike in college and high
Yeah,
school
it doesn't
athletes.
it doesn't really take a big stretch to get there at this point. And I know the COVID defenders, the vaccine defenders, will sit there and be like, "Oh my God, yeah, you fucking anti-vax." And I'm like, no, we've already been over this. I'm not anti-vax. I don't care. Like, I fully support medicine and science. Okay, but those are the same people that were like, Joe Rogan is spreading misinformation. It's like, actually, Joe Rogan's not. He had Robert Malone on, who's who works on mRNA vaccines,
Right. Yeah.
who's one of the world's leading doctors in vaccinations, and he's the one that's actually saying the information. Joe Rogan's just asking the questions doing the interview.
Right. But
And they're like,
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
fuck Joe Rogan. They're like, oh, okay. Anyway, that's when they started calling A-Rod Throw Rogan and everything else. And it was like, oh, man, tell me again how the left can meme. Throw Rogan. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, I hope Bronny makes a complete 100% comeback. I want to see this kid play and have a decent career, or at least have a chance at a career, and I don't want to see it derailed by some bullshit, especially if it was derived and caused directly by something that he was forced to get or got because he thought it was the right thing to do because of bad information.
Right.
Because that would be
and then
devastating.
you have the masks on top of it. I mean, these poor kids were playing basketball. Bronny himself was playing with the mask under his chin. Like, they were making him wear masks whenever they weren't playing. It was just...
It's so
You
stupid,
can't
dude.
suck in good air. You can't get back the oxygen.
I know, and all the
levels.
studies and all the shit that's coming out now, it's like, ooh, yeah, masks actually they didn't do anything.
Well, because it
and
was a
they were bad
money
for
grab.
you.
It was a money grab, so they didn't
Fuck
need
off.
any evidence.
That
to
little
back
fucking
it up.
lawn
It
gnome,
was-
that little lawn gnome, fucking Dr. Fauci was out there saying masks won't do anything for you. If you're young and healthy, go on a cruise, go on vacation. It's
Right.
fine. It's fine. And then 3 weeks later, he was like, if you don't wear a mask, you will fucking die.
Yeah.
And I mean,
You're all dead.
I still see
You're all
I still
dead.
see people wearing masks out in public now, and I'm just like, God, you are fucking dumb. But I can't blame him. I mean, I can, but I
If
can't.
that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. You're still a fucking moron for it. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
I mean, cool. You just look like an asshole.
Right.
Whatever.
I mean, if you have like actual problems, and
Like,
you're medically,
I feel like masks.
vulnerable. Like,
Masks
all right,
are like
that's-
the human. the human version of truck nuts.
Oh my god!
Like if you have truck nuts, you're an asshole. If you that's like if a guy like if you were gonna have nuts on your truck on your trailer hitch, you probably wear a mask in the grocery store.
Yeah, probably.
But anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, Bronny James. Anyway, yes, I hope he's fine, dude. I really that would be heartbreaking to see that kid's career killed, especially if it was by
Yeah, I
something.
hope they don't hold him out the year. I mean, maybe the first so many games or something, and reevaluate or something. But I think especially at being LeBron's kid, they might be kind of strict with that.
They might. I mean, who knows, dude? Honestly, I don't really know. How they're gonna treat him? If he's gonna get preferential treatment, they're gonna be like, all right, just green light this kid. He's fine.
Because they shut down Hamlin for the year, right? Last year when that happened.
Right, but that was the very end of the year, though. And that was December, January, whatever it was.
True, yeah.
So, and Hamlin's back at training camp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's fine. It'll be up to the doctor's discretion, which again, I mean, who knows? Whatever happens. But the kid's 18 years old. There should be no risk of him having a heart attack at 18 years old. I mean, just straight up, especially for a guy whose dad invests millions of dollars a year into physical fitness and making sure that him and his kids' bodies are in top-notch condition.
Right. I know of one person in my life that years and years before, back obviously 18 fucking years ago when we were fucking 18, that I knew of one person who had a heart attack at 18 years old, and it was for no really reason that I could really tell you. It was just a freak thing. 18-year-old girl had a heart attack. She was 18 years old. You know what I mean? That's the one time. How many fucking people, how many years has it been? One person.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, after all
it seems
this
like
shit,
every week there's
it seems like up. And I mean, maybe,
especially if you go over to Europe and you look at all the soccer players that are dropping like flies and shit like that.
It's not just football. It's all types of athletes, lacrosse players, fucking. What is it? Was it a girl field hockey, women's field hockey, high school student or something, or college student a little while ago?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the fuck you play. It's all these young athletic people that are just suddenly fucking having major medical problems.
I don't know. It's just it just seems a little too convenient. And coincidental.
I'm just wondering, what does it mean for sports if it keeps happening to more and more athletes?
Nothing. It's just like the concussion thing. They'll sweep it under the rug. They'll make it go away.
I don't think it'll do anything for
there's
sports
too much.
in
There's
general.
too much. There's too much money in sports, dude. No one gives a shit. They'll keep forcing shots on them. They'll be like, oh, we got a new fix for this. Okay, cool.
They'll be like, hey, you're killing too many athletes. Give them the actual vaccine. And they'll be like, oh, new thing, get this. And everybody will be fine. And they'll be like, all right, sorry.
Right.
When you
and
fuck
nothing
with
will
the
happen.
About some football right now. I know, we had the issue with the running backs not getting paid. I actually think I did see something about Barkley signing a one-year deal.
Yeah,
1 year, $11 million.
$11 million. Yeah, Saquon got an $11 million deal. Yep. He just signed that today, I think.
Yeah, it was today. Which again, I had this conversation earlier with a friend of ours at FaZe, and we were talking about running backs. And the thing is with the running back and say, I know Derrick Henry came out and said oh, just get rid of the position then, this and that, blah blah. It's well, yeah, they kind of are. I mean, we know that the running back position has become a dime a dozen, right? You don't need to invest a first-round pick into a Derrick Henry or an Ezekiel Elliott or, any of these guys anymore. You can get guys off the scrap heap, basically, that can run and function in an offense.
The running back's average salary is lower than kickers. I mean,
I know that's
so
insane.
Unfortunately, it's a dead position.
Right.
It's a dead position. There's, look at the last. Go back and look. When was the last time?
Right, but we're smart enough to understand that the running back position is more important than the kicker.
I would disagree. I think kickers are far more important than running backs. I would pay a kicker over a running back all day. How many times do you have how many times does a game come down to a field goal?
A lot.
I mean, this is the NFL. We're talking 3 points is massive. 3 points can make or break your season. Not a game, a season.
Right.
So, yeah, no, I think kickers are almost, at this point, kickers are paramount.
Right.
having a good kicker,
I'm willing to rely on that 80% chance he's going to get a kick rather than that 10% chance this running back's going to rush for 100 yards and 3 touchdowns or 150 yards. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry. I mean, it sucks to say, but like the days of the Adrian Petersons, the LaDainian Tomlinsons, the Emmitt Smiths, the Terrell Davises, Edger and James. I mean, even Joe Adai was like a secondary feature. Those days are gone. Like we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, it just sounds crazy to me, though. I mean, you would take Justin Tucker over like Saquon Barkley?
Absolutely, in a heartbeat. In a fucking heartbeat. You know why? Because I can go out and get. I can
Saquon that'll.
I can go draft Javonte Williams or grab Josh Jacobs or any of these other guys for a fraction of the price of a Saquon Barkley, and still have Justin Tucker, the greatest kicker of all time.
Right, and you probably get just as much production as long as.
I mean, kickers are routinely the highest scoring players in the NFL.
I get it.
So
it's going the other way with it. I mean, when's the last time a Super Bowl winner had like one of those stud running backs?
Exactly.
All the Super Bowl
Jamal
winners,
Lewis.
if you go back, they
Lewis.
just have like a pretty
Jerome
good
Bettis,
running
maybe?
back.
No.
Not a top tier, you know.
I mean, the last
Like a
time
top
I remember, the last time an NFL, like a leading NFL rusher went to the Super Bowl, I think was Sean Alexander in 2005 against the Steelers.
Yeah, Sean, yeah.
Because 06 was Colts, Bears. I mean, they had Thomas Jones. 07 was Patriots, Giants. The Giants had that split thing with
Brandon
Jacobs
and Ahmad Bradshaw. Ahmad Bradshaw.
No, it wasn't Ahmad Bradshaw.
Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad.
No, Ahmad Bradshaw was 2011. It was somebody else in 7. But anyway, it'll come to me. It was a Thunder and Lightning thing, though. It was like a little thing like that. But it was right after Tiki left. But I don't think it was Ahmad Bradshaw. I was
about to say Tiki. I'm like.
08 was you had the Steelers again, but they had, what was that, Willie Parker that year? No. It wasn't even Willie Parker. I don't even remember who the Steelers running back
And then
was.
what was it, the Cardinals? They had what, Adrian James?
08 was the Cardinals with Edger and But he was a shadow of his former self.
Yeah.
09 you had the Colts with Joe Adai and the Saints with Reggie Bush, but neither one of them were features. Like, I mean, they were parts of the offense, but they weren't featured.
No, they weren't.
2010 you had the Packers with, I don't even think, was it Fat Eddie Lacy?
Maybe.
At that point, maybe, but he wasn't even like a big deal. 11 was Giants and Patriots again. 12 was the Ravens with Ray what's his
Jamal
name?
Lewis?
No. Hey
diddle
Ray up the middle. The guy who knocked his wife out in the elevator.
Oh,
Ray Rice.
Ray Rice. Sorry, Ray.
You know what I mean? Like
Rice.
again, not like an NFL leading rusher or anything. You know what I mean? He's not LaDainian Tomlinson.
It's a good fantasy back.
Right.
Yeah, it was fun, but he wasn't fucking LT or Adrian Peterson.
Right.
2012 was the year.
Winners, they didn't have a top 10 running back.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. The best running back in the league in 2012 was Adrian Peterson. He came up fucking 9 yards short of breaking the all-time rushing record, and he got fucking wasted in the first round of the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah.
So
they don't really
but
do
he
shit.
absolutely carried that team to the playoffs.
Oh, 100%. But that was it. You got him to the wild card round, and that's all they could do.
Yeah.
I mean, those days of 3 yards and I mean, listen, you could go back through the history of it, and you could really look at when did this start to die? And you could look because, all right, Mike Shanahan might have killed this. When he started his system, they started off with Terrell Davis, and Terrell Davis gets hurt. And then, Mike Anderson comes in, then Olandis Gary, and then Clinton Portis, and then it's, Reuben Drones and Howard Griffith, and then, Mike Anderson's back. And then, here's Tatum Bell. You know what I mean? Like, all these different guys that came through, and it's like, okay, it's the system, not the back.
They were all productive.
And they were all extremely productive.
Right.
Some were better than others. I mean, I think you would go like TD, Portis, Anderson, 1, 2, 3 in that order.
Yeah.
But my point is that
but Tatum Bell was decent.
It started to illustrate the fact that you were like, okay, hold on, maybe it's not the running back that makes it. Maybe it's the system.
Right.
And then all of a sudden,
it really just comes down to the construction of the roster. I mean, if you have too much in the running back position, then the history shows that, you're just not going to have it in other positions. Your right tackle is going to be lacking, or, your third corner is going to be junk, or you ain't going to have a good, defensive tackle or whatever, It's just going to be taken away from other positions that you could fill.
Right. I think the way that the game's kind of like evolved in a sense is like with the way that the quarterbacks have come.
3-man roster at the end of the day. So
Right. I mean, like given
like basketball where it's 15 or, some of these other sports.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, it's just like you said, like it's just the progression of the game and the way it's gone, with the way the NFL, how you have to win these days is, I mean, it's all about it's receivers, it's quarterbacks. You need the tight end. You got to have athleticism on spots where you never really thought you needed, like speed and athleticism. And I think with like Von Miller, who came in and kind of like changed the game a little bit in his position, certain guys, I mean, like the whole like
Yep.
Broncos defense roster that like changed the no-fly zone. You got like Russ Wilson and guys who were like one of the first to like really be successful at that mobile quarterback kind of like, dipping out of the pocket and being able to make plays happen. I mean, other from like Mike Vick and stuff, but obviously Russ Wilson was like one to like actually fucking capitalize and win a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And like now you have Patrick Mahomes and like Travis Kelce like kicking ass. Like who would have thought that like 10 years ago or even 15 years ago or whatever, that like the top fucking player to catch balls would be out of receiver or anything would be a fucking tight end.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like I think that goes to show like the way that the game has kind of evolved to certain
I think it
positions
shows
that
Pat
need to have high
Mahomes
skill.
is the best in the game right now. Clear
is?
cut.
What do you say?
Mahomes.
Oh, Mahomes. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
The guy's a freak.
Yeah, it just shows that Mahomes is the best in the business right now.
He's smart as
it's
shit.
clear
He
cut.
he's mobile and he can make. He reads. Sorry, dude.
Man, fuck him.
I know, but I'm watching him
It's
more
tough,
and more,
I
and
know,
I'm
he's a
reading. And I'm
fucking
like,
chief. I know it
fuck,
blows,
bro. He's
but
fucking
he's the
nice,
best and
bro.
it sucks.
I know.
But no, I mean to basically
he
what
can
you guys
handle
were
the
saying.
big moments and shit.
Yeah,
know?
of course. But like to what Paul was saying a little bit, like there's the game has changed a lot. We've gone away from power running.
Yeah.
And if you want to look, I mean,
and then
I
with
think
all the rules
I think
too, on top of that,
the
and-
pendulum's swinging back because, if I'm and look at what the Patriots did, and they did this a couple of years ago, and Belichick is a genius, and I don't care what anybody says. Belichick is the greatest the greatest coach of all time in any sport, and it's not even fucking close. What was it? The year I think they beat the Rams when they played the Chargers in the wild card round or the first round of the playoffs. It was the divisional round. And they ran the ball like 48 times and ran for like 250 something yards on the Chargers. Yeah. And the Chargers couldn't stop the run. Everybody was like, "What the fuck? Like, where did this come from?" Because Bill Belichick realized that the weakness of the Chargers defense was the run. They couldn't stop the run. They were great against the pass. They had Joey Bosa. They could rush the passer. They could get out the quarterback.
Right.
Do all these great things.
How about that Buffalo game last year with was it last year or the year before? There was really high winds.
Yeah, they only
Mac
threw the
Jones
ball
only threw it 3 times.
3 times.
Oh,
That
yeah.
We were in Miami.
We were in Miami
Yeah,
watching it. Like,
lost
what
that
the
game,
fuck?
Yeah, we were in Miami. We were watching that at the Clevelander.
We were at the Fontainebleau. Yeah.
We were at the Clevelander watching
yeah.
the game, but we were staying at the Fontainebleau. But no, we were in Miami watching that. But yeah, but that's the thing is like the pendulum is starting to swing back. I think you're going to see power running games start to come back in the NFL because if you want to know what the NFL is going to do, just look at what college was doing 10 years ago. And that's what the NFL is doing now because those players are starting to those players, that style is now taking place. They've graduated to the NFL. And the NFL coaches, instead of now trying to find guys to fit into their system, they fit their system to the guys they have on their roster. And they say, okay, well, we can reorganize this. We can definitely reorganize this offense. We can build the new offense. I mean, it started with, in the early 2000s with Peyton Manning and the spread hurry up offense when their base offense was a 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, single back set. When you had Edge in the backfield, you had Pollard as the tight end, and then you had Stokely, Harrison, and Wayne. Okay, and then Peyton would run that hurry-up offense all the time, and boom, 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 boom. And that changed the game. That evolutionized the game. Then other teams started doing it and mimicking it, and they were like, oh, this works. Okay. Then you had 2007 when Belichick and McDaniels went down and met with Urban Meyer, and they built that version of the spread offense. And then Belichick did it again in 11 or 10 when they got Gronk and Hernandez with the double tight ends. And so on and so forth. And the game continues to evolve. But, you don't see the 265-pound Jeremiah Trotter style middle linebacker who's just a run thumper, that playing anymore. There's no more Levon Kirklands. There's no more Al Wilsons. Even a Ray Lewis right now. I don't even think Ray Lewis would have a job in the NFL right now. I mean, he would because he's too smart. But
it's fair to say that Belichick has the defense down.
Oh, 1,000%. Belichick's a defensive genius. I mean, the guy's an
I know
absolute
he's gotten
genius.
a lot of shit since Brady's left, but think about it. He took a rookie quarterback with Mac Jones, 10 wins to the playoffs the first year.
Yep.
And prior to that, I think he won still 7 or 8 games with Cam Newton throwing dirt balls.
Bum ass Cam Newton. Cam Newton couldn't even beat Drew Lock for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. But yeah, but I think
you had last year, which was obviously an abomination on the offense.
I think you'll start to see the pendulum come back towards, like, I think power running games will come back as these offensive lines, because you look at, like, Bama, Georgia, Clemson, where every offensive lineman is, like, 320 plus, and they're just road graders.
And they run, like, a 5'1",
and they're fucking
4'9",
crazy
40,
athletic.
like.
And they're just out there bulldozing dudes. And now I think you're going to start to see more running, like, more of a focused running attack come back to the NFL over the next couple of years, because you have these big bodies on the offensive line that can road grade, and all these defenses right now, they're built to stop the pass.
Right, they're swinging
small.
The other way.
They're running, they're running nickel and dime packages as their base.
You throw the power run back at them, they can't change that shit up in one off season, especially when they don't know what's coming.
And yeah, so I think you're going to see some power running. The problem is for running backs, and this goes back to we're coming right back full 360 back to the original point here. The problem for the running backs is they're the ones that are expendable in this whole thing. They're the ones that, like, okay, we don't need to pay you a bunch of money to get the production out of you that we can get, because we don't want to pay you $10 million a year when we're going to have to pay another guy $5 million a year to back you. That's $15 million a year wrapped up in running backs, when we could go get 2 guys for $5 million that can do exactly what you guys do.
Yeah, but imagine if, like, the Bills got Josh Jacobs.
Honestly, I don't think it moves the meter that much. I mean, is Josh
Jacobs
to
the Bills right now is fucking important.
That might be what the Bills are missing.
Is Jacobs an upgrade to what they have? Yes, but is Josh Jacobs going to be the difference between a Super Bowl and not? I don't think so.
Well, it doesn't matter because Nyheim Hines is out for the season now. So if they want to replace somebody that can
in that case, yes, Josh Jacobs to the Bills would make a shit ton of sense.
That makes a lot of sense now. Is what I'm saying.
At this very moment in time,
because of that information.
As Kamala Harris would say, we need to identify our place in time to recognize where we have come from, so that we can also acknowledge where we are going.
Right, because that makes a lot of fucking sense.
But no, I think Jacobs to the Bills would make a shit ton of sense. That'd be a fucking awesome sign now that Nyheim Hines is out. But
without Nyheim Hines being out, that makes no sense.
Like what if let's say like Josh Jacobs to the Cardinals? Does that move the needle for anybody? On
Josh
the Cardinals?
Jacobs really anyway doesn't. I don't know if it moves.
No, Josh Jacobs is great.
I know, but
Josh Jacobs is phenomenal.
But what I'm just trying to think of, like, in my head, like, where would he make the most impact?
I mean, the thing is, they wouldn't need him in the Niners.
They really need him in San Fran though with Debo. They can do everything with that.
I mean, what about
guy,
Jacksonville? Throw Josh Jacobs in Jacksonville.
They have Travis Etienne.
I know, but Etienne, I believe, is.
Etienne.
I think Etienne. I don't think he's a 3 down.
What about Dallas right now?
Yeah, but
Tony Pollard signed a tag.
Oh, that's right.
You have Pollard.
He signed a tag for $10 million.
Pollard again is a guy that filled in for Zeke.
And beat him for his job.
And beat him out for his job.
Right. I forgot about Pollard. I thought Zeke was just out. I forgot Pollard replaced him.
I don't know. It's just
boneheaded move on my part.
Josh Jacobs again. I feel like running backs are becoming luxury items more and more and more every year in the NFL. Because listen, Chris, if running backs dictated how good teams were, the Tennessee Titans and the San Francisco 49ers would be fucking unbeatable.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. McCaffrey got moved.
And here's the thing is, like, even just look at, like, 2 years ago?
Yeah,
what Jonathan Taylor did for the Colts.
Traded.
Yeah, right. And, like, look what Jonathan Taylor did for the Colts that year, 3 years ago now? Starting 3 years ago. Look what he did for the Colts, and they still couldn't fucking do shit. You know what I mean? They still couldn't even beat the Jags and the Raiders to get into the playoffs. They were still on the cusp.
Right.
All that great shit that Jonathan Taylor did, 21 touchdowns, fucking 1,000 whatever fucking yards or whatever the fuck he rushed.
Yeah.
I don't know. With however many attempts and all this shit, and it still didn't even get him into the fucking postseason. So please explain to me why teams are going to go and pay fucking millions of dollars for a team, for a post or a player that they could go without.
I think the rules have changed, and, it's kind of hurting the running back position.
This is what you've seen.
It's a passing league, obviously.
This is the product of a pass-happy
like
league.
The old days, like when you had the LaDainian Tomlinsons, taking you deep into the playoffs, like Joe mentioned, the Sean Alexanders.
Right. Yeah, Yeah,
go back to the
the fucking
Steelers or
Terrell
Jerome Bettis.
Davises, you know, like
I'm just trying to think, like, back to, like, the last, like, great running back to get to a Super Bowl.
Mike Allstott. No,
It might have been Alexander, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't the Pats have Corey Dillon one of those years they
Corey
won?
Dillon was 04, but
That was the early year. Yeah,
that was
early.
04, yeah.
That was a pretty good pickup from the Bengals at the time.
Because, I mean, like, Todd Gurley was great for 1 year, but
they didn't win the Super Bowl.
They didn't win the Super Bowl, yeah. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look, but
Sonny Michel, fuck no.
Sonny Shells.
Fuck no.
Fucking C.J. Anderson, my boy. I mean, I love him, but no.
Right, no.
That's
a hard one to put.
Yeah.
I bet it's like Ahmad Bradshaw. Like, as far as like numbers wise, like best running back that year to win the Super Bowl has got to be the Giants.
2011 Giants.
Yeah, or I mean,
Ray Rice probably with the Steelers, the Ravens.
With the Ravens and when they beat the Niners.
Yeah, because Ray Rice had a couple of I think he had a 1,400-yard season at one point.
Was it? Yeah.
He was up
But
there.
that year that they won the Super Bowl?
Not that particular year, no.
Right.
But I think he was. But everybody remembers Ray Rice being fucking pretty electric for a while. But
Yeah,
anyway, good conversation, Durant. Appreciate the call, bud.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, but we'll
be on in a little bit.
We'll be on some
Shut him down.
We'll be on some duty to sit him down in a few.
All right, sounds good, boys.
All right, bud.
dog.
Thanks for the call, brother.
All right, later.
774-992-8702 is the phone number. If you want to give us a call, we talked about nips to start the show for a long time.
Yeah.
We've got into Jaylen Brown. We've got into Bronny James. We've got into running backs, quarterbacks, the NFL injuries. I do want to do a little bit of NASCAR before we run out of steam here because there was a lot that happened on Sunday at Pocono.
Right.
And I'm not gonna lie, it was fucking awesome.
I saw some of it.
I have not enjoyed a Pocono race this much in I don't even remember. This was fantastic. First of all, the racing was incredible. The rules package that NASCAR has put forward and put together for a lot of these tracks. I know there's the complaints and everything, and everybody's like, it's not perfect, so I don't love it. But what they did for Pocono was fucking awesome. Right. The racing was close. It was tight. It was driver on driver. There was no, it really didn't matter. You could have a great car.
Fuck Denny Hamlin.
But, Denny Hamlin's a fucking punk. Or at least he pulled a punk bitch move. You wanna spruce me while you're down there?
Yeah, fuck yeah,
bro. All right, well, spruce. I'll wait for you to get up here about the videos. Hold on. Let me we'll get. Yeah, you don't have to close that all the way. By the way. Fucking assholes. Jesus Christ. I try to teach these kids every week, the little things. You think knowing, they come here once a week at least. My brother, more, but hey, you don't need to pull that door shut. It's fine. You just kind of leave it. This is fucking busted because I'm lazy and I don't want to fix it. Because I put my fist through it a couple of times and now it's all fucked up. Not iRacing related at all. But nonetheless, you'd think they would learn, hey, you don't have to pull that thing shut because then it just makes it harder to open and makes more noise than, you're trying to be quiet. But no, anyway. But anyhow, NASCAR on Sunday was fucking awesome. If you didn't watch the race on Sunday, I honestly feel bad. It was one of the better races I've seen this year, which is saying something because my favorite races, Atlanta was great. I loved the night race at Atlanta a couple weeks ago. That was phenomenal. Daytona I was there. It was fucking great. Talladega's fucking awesome. Charlotte was great. There was some really good racing. I thought there was a few, even California, the last race there, Vegas, there was a couple of really good races so far this year in terms of the racing, the finishes. Kansas, I think Nashville was awesome. Denny wrecking Kyle Larson again, which that's a common theme this year, and we'll get into that here. But my betting has been almost on point, and I've been really, really, really close on a couple of really big winners. Keselowski being one of them. Finishing fourth last week at New Hampshire, and I think he finished in the top 5 again this week at Pocono with plus 3,000 odds on him. Put a couple bucks down on him. I'm not nickeling. I'm not to where I wanted to be in terms of betting on these races where I wanted to be by Daytona. I won't be where I wanted to be by Daytona, which I wanted $1,000 in my FanDuel account by Daytona. But I pissed a lot of it away on, dumb bets. I've been betting a lot on darts, like, 6-7 leg parlays on darts. One thing I've noticed about FanDuel, too, and I don't know if anybody else has done this or bets with FanDuel, but they have, like, a suggested parlay thing, like, right at the top, and it's like, 4,982 people have bet this particular parlay. Like, do you want to get in on it? And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll get in on that. Like, maybe that's a good hit. It's like, like a 6 or 7 leg parlay. It's like all these 7 guys got to get a hit tonight in the MLB. And you're like, all right. You look through the list. You're like, all these dudes should at least get a hit. And you bet it. And it's like, it's always like plus 2,800, plus 3,200. And you're like, yeah, I'll throw $10 on it. Maybe win a couple bucks. No, they never even come close. I think out of all those parlays, I think the closest I've come was like 2 or 3 out of the 6 or 7 that were required to hit it. So those are kind of fucking bullshit. And maybe somebody can chime in about that because I don't get it. I don't know why they put these I don't know if they're just putting these parlays up that are just like really long odds. And you're like, okay, 5,000 people are betting on this. And you're like, all right, do these 5,000 people know something I don't? Or is that the gag? Is that like how they get you to throw $10 away or $20 away? So I don't know. But all I know is that on Sunday at Pocono, you don't have to close that all the way.
I didn't.
He did.
Nah. Oh,
Dickhead. On Sunday at Pocono, I rattled off a couple of bets. I put money on everybody except Denny Hamlin, and I was this close to putting money on Denny.
But why would you?
Well,
just fuck him.
Yes, now. Because looking back now, I had $20 or $15, I think it was, on Kyle Larson to win it. Because I just felt, I'm like, Larson's had a pretty quiet, second third of the season, mid-third of the season. And he hasn't really done much. And I'm like, William Byron's kind of stealing the thunder. Bowman's an afterthought. Chase Elliott's been out. Like, he's out of it. Like, kind of sucking ass this year. I'm like, Kyle Larson. It feels like Kyle Larson's day to win.
He just got a bad break on that. Was it the restart or whatever?
On the restart with 7. So
ninth.
with 7 laps to go, Denny Hamlin shoved him in the fence. Now, if you look back to last year, Denny Hamlin. So I put money on Ross Chastain.
Of course.
Kyle Larson, and I believe
Slick.
Slick Willie Byron I put money on, and Keselowski.
Yeah.
I think I put $10 each. I put $10 on 3 of them. I put 15 on Kyle Larson. I was gonna put $10 on Denny Hamlin because I was like, he's going for his 7th win at Pocono, which would be the most all time. It'd be his 50th win all time, or 60th win all time. 600th win for Toyota. Yep. It would break the tie with Jeff Gordon, for most wins at Pocono with 6. And I'm like, should I bet? I'm like, nah. I'm like, that's all like too convenient to work out. And I put money on Kyle Larson instead. Because I don't typically bet the guys like in the top 3 or 4 on odds because I'm not interested in 50, 40 or $50. I want to hit the guy that with $10 that's going to win me 300. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to bet a Corey LaJoie, a Brad Keselowski, a Kurt Busch, somebody who's a little bit further down the odds list that's going to give me a bigger payday because I'm only betting $10.
Right. It ain't bad. Right.
So I'm still riding positive for the year. I'm up. Right. I'm still. I'm up probably $1,000 on the year. Now I gotta really stop fucking betting on like dumb shit like baseball parlays, dart parlays. Darts are killing me. Like I'll throw money, like I'll throw like $100 down on like Michael Van Gerwen against some scrub and he'll lose. I'm like, dude, you're the world number 1. What the fuck are you doing to me right now?
Maybe not anymore.
And no, we don't. He still is. He's still the world number 1. But it's like a preliminary round thing where it's like, whatever, who cares? If I lose, I lose. No big deal. My tournament's not over. But whatever. I just took it out. So anyhow, I got to stop doing that shit. And we were talking to our buddy Julio today about he's gonna start putting up his picks.
He's got to put his plays.
He's gonna start
bro.
putting up a blog and a thing on
his
Twitter
plays,
or something.
bro. I'd
in his
follow the
plays.
shit out of him, bro.
I'll follow him in a heartbeat. The Black Mamba strikes again and again and again and again. That man was wearing like fucking $5,000 Gucci shades to a wedding that he won off betting money.
He's got some
just
fucking
cause.
red bottoms on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you're like, what the fuck, bro?
my boy's straight good with it. But anyhow, so this is what happened at Pocono. This was the final restart. Now, Denny Hamlin did this exact same thing in the exact same position to Ross Chastain last year to win this race. And this is why I'm starting to get a little sick and fucking tired of Denny Hamlin.
And listen, he just kept talking to Kim. Kim did a great job. She asked a great question, Kim Kuhn. But we see here, this is a replay of Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain last year. He's already pulled this move. Denny can't be the victim. We played his radio. He was the victim. He puts himself in the victim position. You're not the victim here, Denny Hamlin. And when I looked at this one and we heard what Kyle Larson said, he said, Denny's always right. All his buddies know it. And he laughed about it because he knows Denny's not going to apologize for this. You see him come back here. It was a great race, man. I enjoyed every lap. I loved the strategy. I loved everything about it. The ending, I don't appreciate. I don't appreciate even 50 wins, what he's done. I don't appreciate that because we saw this same move last year, and that's just my opinion.
I think the crazy part is he's been such a popular driver here forever, and they.
All right, so that's Kyle Petty, son of the legendary Richard Petty, for those that don't know. Talking about what Denny Hamlin did. So he pulled the exact same move. They didn't show the move. That was the move from this week. They didn't show the move the year before that he did on Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain actually ended up getting wrecked hard because of it. Right. But the problem that I have with this whole thing, and this is why Denny Hamlin's a punk-ass bitch in my opinion, for this. Because he comes off, he's like, well, I don't know what everybody's so mad about. Like, what's the problem? We were racing for the win. And it's like, yes, you're right, Denny. We were racing for the win. But if the script is flipped, and it has been a bunch of times, and you get shoved in the fence, you cry like a little fucking bitch. Right. And you bitch and complain, and you whine. And you whine, and you whine, and you whine. And you will be hard-pressed to find anybody in the NASCAR garage
that'll take your side.
That was on Denny Hamlin's side on Sunday.
Right.
Even Martin Truex, Denny's teammate, was like, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that.
Not going to touch that one, Mike.
And here's the reason why. You're in the 21st race of the season. Okay, we've got 5 races left.
26, right? Yeah.
Until the playoffs start. Now, Kyle Larson isn't. I don't think he's a vindictive, grudge-holding piece of shit. I don't. I really don't.
He might be now.
But I know who is. Rick Hendrick, who Kyle Larson drives for. And there is a rule at Hendrick Motorsports. Like, you do not get shoved in the fence or driven like that without something happening in retaliation down the road. Now, it might not happen on Sunday night Sunday afternoon at Richmond because you got a short track coming up. Then you go the Indy Road Course, Watkins Glen, another road course, and then you got the final. You got the finisher at Daytona. Or I think I'm missing one race in there too, but whatever. You have the final at Daytona.
Watkins Glen.
Now, there's gonna be at some point, Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin are going to be together on the track. At some point, Denny Hamlin is going to need Kyle Larson to let him in line, afford him the space that he is needed. Eventually, it is going to happen. And you know what I think is going to be the case when that situation comes?
Sorry, bro.
I think Kyle Larson is going to say, sorry, bro. I got this line. Should have stayed in yours.
I just don't got the room for you. Oops, and he's gonna tag him right on the left rear quarter panel.
Because that's what Denny. Because if you listen to, and I don't want to.
I hope he does, though. I hope he does. Honestly, for Kyle Larson's sake, I hope Hendrick does come down, even if whoever's on board with it. I fucking hope it happens because I want to see the interview with Denny Hamlin afterwards. I just want to see what he says.
Oh, he'll cry victim. 1,000%. Because Denny is that dude. Denny is
It'll
the
just
male.
make him look more like
Denny
a
is the
fucking
Denny
bitch.
is the male version of Danica Patrick, where it's never his fault. It's everybody else's fault. You fucked me. You pushed me here. You did this. Blah blah blah. And for as good as Denny is, and I got corrected in the video. He was his 50th win, 600th for Toyota. His 50th win, 7th at Pocono. You know, this is a guy as good as he is. He loves to sit there and cry like he's the victim all the time. And it's really fucking annoying, and it's really starting to rub people, including his own teammate, the wrong way. And I know, listen, Joe Gibbs isn't getting rid of Denny Hamlin anytime soon. No. Okay, there's, Martin Truex, he can contemplate retirement all he wants. He's not going anywhere anytime soon until he decides to. But the fact that his own teammate is coming out and calling him out on his bullshit is like, oof. Yo, you might be fucking up here, bro.
Yeah.
And people are getting tired of it. And there's going to come a point at some time in the next 4 or 5 races, and I don't even think it'll happen during the next 4 or 5 races, but let's say when we get to Talladega in October, and Denny gets hung out to dry, and Kyle Larson's the guy that could let him back in line.
Like Mel Gibson on South Park.
What about this?
I would love that.
And just goes, oops. Sorry, Denny.
There's pizza. No.
There's pizza. Because that's the thing. I think guys' patience is getting worn thin. Because last year with Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin, right? You could make the argument very easily that Ross might have had it coming. Because that's the way Ross raced people. Ross Chastain races people hard.
Right.
All the time. He doesn't give you an inch. He doesn't care if you wreck. As long as he keeps going and he wins the race, that's all that matters.
We've seen that with the crazy stunts he's fucking pulled.
There was some other guy.
Crazy
I don't know.
Farmer.
You might know his name, Dale Earnhardt Sr. He used to race like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he's the kind of guy that would treat you like that. You weren't getting an inch off of him, and he wasn't. That's it. Like you were racing him. If you were going to pass Dale Earnhardt, you were going to have to race him for that position. And to those that watch racing and understand racing, you know what that means. I mean, there are guys that will, you'll get a nose under them, and they'll be like, all right, I'll give it up, let you go. All right, we'll live to fight another day. Dale Earnhardt, Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin, Kyle, those guys, they're like, no. Oh, you got a nose under me? All right, well, I'm going to hang with you on the outside here until something gives. It ain't going to be me. So I'm going to hang with you, and I'm going to race you. I'm going to make you burn up your tires, make you burn up your fuel, make you change your pit strategy. I don't know, whatever it is, but I'm going to race you through and through and through. I'm not just going to concede this position to you because I made a slight mistake and you took a slight advantage of it, and now you're alongside of me. No. I'm gonna race you. And that's what I love about NASCAR more than every other version of motorsports is the guys in NASCAR race each other. They race each other, and they race each other hard. They don't play around. What Denny did to Kyle in that clip, most of the time, you would just say, you know what? That's racing. And unfortunately, that's 2 guys going for the win with 7 laps to go, both understanding that whoever comes out of that turn, that first lap with the lead, is probably going to win it because you're not going to be able to catch the other guy at that point. Like, you basically got one opportunity to make that pass. And Denny took it, and he made that pass. Now, had Denny not been such a whiny little bitch all these years.
Right, beforehand to set himself up to look like this piece of shit.
Then this wouldn't be an issue. Was it dirty? I wouldn't call it dirty. No. Was it respectful? No, it wasn't respectful. He did not give Kyle Larson the respect he deserved.
For riding his line.
Right, because Denny took away his line, made contact with him, forced him up into the fence.
Yep.
And, Denny in the post-race interview said, well, we all have decisions to make. His decision was to stay in the gas and hit the fence.
As far as I saw it was my line, which clearly it wasn't.
He could have made the decision to back out of the throttle and live to race another lap, but he didn't want to do that, so that was the consequence. Okay, Denny, we'll see how that translates when we get to the first race of the playoffs at Darlington, when you're looking for a place to cut in, or even better yet, when we get to Dega, or when we get to the Charlotte Roval.
When you're looking for a place to cut in at 190 miles an hour.
Yeah, when you're looking for a place to go, or when you need a push on the last lap and nobody goes with you because they're like, you know what? Fuck
that
you.
guy.
So, interesting stuff. It was good. Not as good as this, though. So, there was another beef. And again, Pocono, for whatever reason, the fucking emotions were running high at this race. I know we're getting to the end of the regular season. It's coming up on the playoffs. Guys are trying to make the cut. And there are guys like Ryan Preece who went over to Stewart Haas Racing, had big expectations for this year, have not lived up to them. They've struggled. I think Preece only has one top 10 this year. And he goes over. He was the one that brought out the caution on the last lap after Denny had taken the white flag. He got spun coming out of the tunnel turn.
Yep.
And then they were like, and then he got it fired up, got it moving, and then it died again, and then he couldn't get it going, trying to get it fired up, trying to get it moving, couldn't get it quite going. Denny had already taken the white, and then NASCAR threw the caution. They waited till the last minute. Props to NASCAR, by the way, for doing that, because everybody was like, why didn't they throw the caution? Because if they'd thrown the caution before Denny took the white, it would have bunched him back up and given Truex a shot at, maybe diving down in turn one and taking the lead away from Hamlin and giving a better finish, if you will. But too many times NASCAR's too quick to throw the caution.
Right.
And it's like, nah, man, like this dude, like he's got this thing won. Don't take it away from him and put him, in another position to fucking do it again, because that's just like, oh, okay, cool, like that's what we want to see. Like, no, listen,
that's like the Bills Chiefs
the races,
overtime rules.
the races don't always end the way you want them to.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, there was 165 laps to figure this thing out. Okay, Denny Hamlin's leading on the last one. Don't take it away from him because a car spun innocuously in turn two.
Right.
Now, had he not got it fired up and got it moving, I think NASCAR would have thrown the caution. Right. But because he got it fired up and started moving the car, I think that's when NASCAR was like, all right, he's got it moving. Let's see if he can get that car out of there before they come by on the final lap, then we're good. And then Denny takes the white and the car dies again. And now he's sitting there on the apron in turn two, which you cannot have an idle car or a dead car sitting on the apron of a live racetrack. You just can't do it.
Right.
So I want to give NASCAR their props, honestly, for waiting until even though it did cost us, Martin Truex was not going to catch Denny Hamlin regardless. So that last lap was kind of like a moot point at that juncture.
Right.
But there was a conscious effort by NASCAR to try to let that race finish under green the way everybody always wants it to.
Right.
And then it does. So Ryan Preece was the one that spun out in turn two. And then this is the reaction. This is the confrontation, I should say, of Ryan Preece and Corey LaJoie on pit road. Ryan Preece is the one that gets out of his car. It's a split screen. You'll see a dash cam from Corey LaJoie's car, which will give you the audio of what's being said by Ryan Preece. And you'll see Ryan Preece charging from his car back to Corey LaJoie. So check this shit out.
That was you.
I mean, my boy was straight putting hands on Corey LaJoie.
Right.
Like, while he's still strapped in the car. So he can not only not defend himself, but, like, he's getting, like, whooped up on a little bit.
Right.
And not for nothing, there are big rules against that. And I'll tell you what, Corey LaJoie is no pushover. And I can't wait to listen to Stacking Pennies later, which is Corey LaJoie's podcast, to hear his reaction and his take on what just happened with that.
Yeah.
Because that, to me, right there is like, ooh, man, there's crossing lines, then that's crossing the line.
Right. I mean, I get it. Like, and one of the cool things about NASCAR is that, like, you do get to see a lot of, like, the upfront, like, confrontation, like, between the drivers and shit like that. But there's, like, a line between, like, you know what I mean? Like, going up, like casing your point, and maybe you getting physical, opposed to just, like, coming up and just, like, doing what he did. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's a line there. I don't know.
There's always a line.
There's always a line.
Ryan Preece crossed it because, like, all right, if you're going to confront a guy like that, at least let him get out of his car.
That's what I'm saying.
And have a shot at, like, defending himself a little bit.
Don't
you know
come
what I mean?
up and just, like, catch him in a bet. Like, you're a bitch, dude. Try that with anybody the fuck else, and you'll get jawed.
Yeah.
You'll just get jocked right in your fucking face.
Ask Ross Chastain how that works
He'll
out.
fucking
or
crack you.
Noah Gragson,
That's what I'm saying. He'll fucking crack you, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Ooh, that it kind of pisses me off, actually.
Yeah, I mean
You're a bitch, bro. You're an ill bitch.
But I love it, and this is what I love about NASCAR is because NASCAR lets these guys do this. They let them get out and fight. Like this would never happen in Formula One.
Fuck
never happen.
No, you get like a year's suspension. Max Verstappen would be banned for life.
If you went up,
no more wine and cheese.
Or think about if like Yuki Tsunoda went up into that to Joe Guan Yu.
No more wine and cheese, bro.
No, see you later, dude.
Bye.
You're out of here. Like, but that's the thing, and that's what I love about NASCAR, and that's why I always, when people ask you, like, oh, it's so boring, all they do is turn left, I'm like, yes, okay, I get it. All right, they turn left a lot. All right, that's NASCAR. It's oval racing. It's my favorite form of racing. That being said, NASCAR is the only sport where they let their racers race each other,
right?
Where you can beat and bang and lean on each other for 500 miles,
right?
And they're like, all right, yeah, that's fucking Robbins racing, baby.
Yep. And when the race is done, you get out of your car and you punch something.
Yeah,
hey, you know what?
If you feel the type of way.
All the NASCAR execs are like, man, well, if I was doing 198 miles an hour and some asshole pulled that shit, I'd probably want to do the same fucking thing.
Absolutely, dude. The things I want to do to people doing 65 miles an hour are different.
People don't understand when all they hear about NASCAR is, all you do is just turn fucking left. Yeah, well, I'm turning left with 3 dudes, one the other side, myself, and one on the right side, 3 inches off my car, doing 200 fucking miles an hour. So, like, I don't want to hear your shit.
It's a little more complicated than just they turn left. I mean, I love bringing people up here. The all they do is turn left crowd. And I'm like, all right, cool. Here's a NASCAR. Go turn a lap at Pocono. Go ahead. It's so easy. It's a video game, bro. This should be super easy. You've been playing video games your whole life.
It's just a video game, right?
Just go ahead.
Imagine if it was a real car. You'd stall it. You wouldn't even get out of pit road.
Right. Most people don't even know how to operate a clutch these days, let alone fucking turn. An
actual NASCAR,
understand entrance and exit, vectors of a corner.
Right. If you just told me, Paul has a helmet, here's an actual fucking NASCAR. In order, like in its standalone form, I would probably have to be like, and you didn't give me any like heads up, no tutorial, no nothing on how to stop, emergency fuel off, like all that shit on how to get that thing fucking running.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be able to start it.
I would, but it would take me quite a while. It would take me a little while. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I don't know this bad toggle switch. It's a machine, bro.
Yeah, it's a racing machine. It's
operating
built
machine.
for one purpose, to race, go fast, and take lefts.
There's a lot more to it than you fucking think.
And to drive it is a totally other
right,
animal.
And then you get to driving it, right?
Yeah.
Not even just being able to shift gears normally and, like, drive the car without killing it.
It took me almost a year of driving in iRacing to figure out how to win at Charlotte, for Christ's sakes.
And that's just fucking iRacing.
And that's racing against, like, people like me and you.
You don't even feel G's. You don't feel nothing wheel hot. You don't
it's not 140.
Track,
it's not 140 degrees in the car. I mean, you feel the track, but, like, you're not. Like,
no, you don't feel it in your car, your seat. Like,
you're seeing it on the
track.
screen, but like, and in the wheel. But yeah, it's not even close to the same thing. So, fun shit. Is that good? Are we good?
I think so. Let's sit them down.
Yeah, we'll go sit them down. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This was a great show. I had a lot of fun tonight. Glad we got to talk about.
We covered a lot of topics.
We did. I'm glad we got to do the Nips
thoroughly
thing.
too.
Appreciate y'all listening in. If you don't mind giving us a like and a share, we'll be back in 2 weeks. We won't be here next week. I'm taking next week off. It's Feast Week. It's my anniversary.
If you don't know about the feast, look up the Madeira Feast in New Bedford and go, because it's fucking amazing.
And if you're at the Madeira Feast, just look for me. I'll be there.
We'll be there.
Probably, I'd say at least 3 out of 4 days.
I get 3 days this year.
I'm only saying 3 out of 4 because I got family coming up.
Yeah, I got to go to a wedding on the Saturday, so
Work's listening to this going, you're scheduled to work. I know I'm scheduled, but
my eyes
I have
hurt.
a feeling
my eyes hurt.
I got some anal glaucoma.
Yeah, I can't see myself going
to work. Can't see my ass
coming
to work today.
So anyway.
But I'll be there probably all 4 days.
Last couple weeks without football, Plus the
And then
feast, dead of summer.
We're
Enjoy
off.
it.
We're off next week for the feast. Then we're back. Training camps will be underway. Preseason will be underway.
Fuck yeah.
We're back. The month of the gods will be upon us.
Quick yes or no, does Anthony Richardson make the starting job with his guy to Minshew? I just want to know real quick.
Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, you think he's going to make it?
Throw him into the fire. Baptism by fire,
I
baby.
would think so, but it's in the fence right now with the
Of
Colts
course. Of course
organization.
it is. It's always
Fuck.
it's preseason, bro. We're preseason.
Let's
always,
go.
But I am very much looking forward to it. We'll get into the we'll do the NFL uniforms in 2 weeks.
Yeah, fuck it. I sent you the pictures. We'll figure it out. Then when we get some more looks at your boys' too, which is like
because the Broncos ones, the Broncos released their ice
alternate or
their
whatever.
ice helmets.
Color rush.
The white, they get the white helmets with the old school D logo on them, and the orange jerseys with the orange pants, which I fucking hate. I hate the orange, like the color on color pants. Jerseys, like, just no, they need to be one or the other. I can't do the fucking like the white and the white or the Seahawks color rush lime green. I hate the color rush. Love the helmet that they did. I wish, but like do like blue jerseys, orange pants, or white pants, orange jerseys. Like, you know, in that glorious picture of Peyton Manning right there. Like why mess with perfection? I don't know. But it's the NFL. They're moving more towards like an arena league feel because eventually we're gonna have 60 fucking teams all over the world, and this league's gonna fucking suck, and I'm never gonna watch it again. So I'm just gonna enjoy it now while I'm here.
Yeah, because Johnny Manziel's gonna actually start for a team one day again.
Yeah, no shit.
Somehow.
It's fucking unbelievable. But anyway, Joey Fats Radio, row one, seat one. Thank you very much for joining us. For Plizzy and Mr. Betancourt, who could not be here tonight because he is on a beautiful vacation with his wonderful family. We will be back in 2 weeks' time, and be sure to give us a like and a follow. Row one, seat one, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the whole nine. This will be up on Spotify in a few minutes.
Radio.
Yeah, roll with us, man.
Excellent. Let's go.
Get it. So everybody enjoy Feast Weekend next weekend. I will talk to you guys in 2 weeks. Plizzy will talk to you in 2 weeks. Sean will be back with a full house. NFL preseason will be here. Oh, it'll be a glorious
It's game time, baby.
It'll be game time, baby. Game time, baby. All right, everybody. Y'all take it easy. Enjoy the feast. Be safe. Peace out.
Peace.